All right, how we doing? Welcome to the Watch Along Premier Boxing Series number 5. I think it is. I think it's number 5. Um, Team Alice. I'll just turn this down a little bit there. I was just watching this before the broadcast is starting in about a minute and a half. But yeah, Team Alice, Melbourne Pavilion here in Victoria. We have, looking at the card, we have Mitch Leake, 10 and 0, up against Jack Brubaker. I'm just going to move my microphone over there. 18, 5 and 2. And Lucas Miller, 11, 6 and 2, up against Matt Sheehan. So a couple of really good fights, actually. The undercard, there's 3 fights. So there's, was it Clay Smith, who's a former Western Bulldogs premiership player. He's 2-0. He's going to be up against Jamie Phillips, who's 1 and 2. Who else we got there? Tommy Fitzgerald. I know that name. Tommy Fitzgerald, 5 and 0. He's going to take on. Let's have a look. What's his name? Sith Hidet Fanisana. Does that make sense? He's 1 and 4. And then we have a couple of footy players. Ex-Collingwood player Brody Holland. He's going to make his debut against St Kilda hardman Stephen Baker. So they're going to go at it over 3 by 2 minute rounds. And I can't believe, like, even though they're footballers and even though it's their pro debut, whatever it is, why can't they fight 4 3-minute rounds? And they're no different to any other fighters making their debut. Why do they have to fight 3 2-minute rounds? That is pretty hard to get your head around. So I'm not quite sure how many we're going to get watching tonight. It's not exactly Canelo versus Benavides or anything, is it? Or Munguia. But let's see. It's a fight night. We're here. I'm going to go through it. So what we'll do, the first 3 fights should go quite quickly, I'm thinking. The 3 by 2 minute round will take about 10 minutes. So the commentators on there, we've got the legendary Barry Michael and Mark the Hammer Castanigni, I think it is. Bruce Eva is the other commentator. So as I said, Team Alice Promotions, they've done more so like the novelty events in the last couple of years, probably ever since COVID actually. They've done the novelty events with the reality TV stars against each other. I know that venue very, very well, the Melbourne Pavilion. And it's a really good venue actually. I've never actually done a show there, but been to plenty of shows there myself, and very, very good venue for boxing. So as I said, Team Alice haven't really done any major, proper boxing events in the last probably 3 years. But for some reason, I'm not quite sure. Obviously, we know with the Premier Boxing Series, Ace Boxing have the rights on that, I suppose you will. Angelo DiCarlo has stepped back, which has now allowed other promoters to maybe come on board. I would have thought maybe that it would have been Will Tomlinson, to be honest, that would have got it at Wildfighter. But good on Team Alice. They've obviously seen something in those guys to give them this event, and they've put together a pretty good card. A Wednesday night's always pretty hard to get a crowd. Looks like on the screen they've got a few there, though. So let's see how they go. So we haven't got a lot of people watching yet, but I'm sure as the night goes on, we'll get a few. There's Andy in the chat. Welcome to the show, mate. Subscribe, share, and smash the like button. It all helps. Apparently, we're pushing about 1,300 subscribers at the moment, which is fantastic. I know it's nothing compared to a lot of other YouTubers out there, but for just our little channel, I'm very happy to have those you guys and girls out there that watch our streams. Just repeating the card: Mitch Leake, 10 and 0. We'll go through his record a little bit later. He's up against Jack Brubaker. I think we're all familiar with Jack. He's 18, 5 and 2. Of course, he's had those memorable fights with Tim Tszyu and Nikita Tszyu, amongst others. Lucas Miller, 11, 6 and 2. Matt Sheehan, 10 and 2. So they're the 2 main fights on the card. And we look into the chat. There's D-Style Boxing. How are you there, mate? I'm not quite sure. What's the time over there at the moment? I'm gathering it's quite late. Where is it? Is that right? 5 o'clock in the morning where you are? That is nuts. Oh, no, you're on the other side, aren't you? So it's 2 a.m. in the morning. Correct me if I'm wrong. But welcome to the show, mate. Mate, you said you don't get any of these Aussie cards streamed live. Well, I'm going to give you the next best thing and me commentating the fights. I know it's not That's not the ideal scenario, but I'm going to do my best to commentate. I know, if you can hang around for a little bit, mate, that's fine. If you've got any questions for me or D-Star or whoever else, just let us know. There's Kyle champion in the chat. Evening to you too, mate. If Mitch Leake can pull this off, he could be an option for Nikita. I actually didn't think of that. So this is at middleweight, though, although maybe Nikita will move up. Also, keep an eye on Tommy Gunn Fitzgerald. Kids a pistol. Well, let's have a look at the fighters as they are at the moment. What's that, Cole, there? Up for your mid... yeah, D-Style. Good to have you around anyway, D-Style. I know you probably won't be around for too long, mate, being 2 o'clock in the morning. That is right there. But now, just one thing as we watch the stream tonight, if you are watching it on your app, just bear with me. We probably will be 30 or 40 seconds behind. It's just the stream with the lagging and all that sort of stuff. It's very hard to be live, if that makes sense. So we might be watching it together at the same time, but by the time I comment and it gets to you, it could be, as I said, 30 or 40 seconds. What's that, D-Style? 3 a.m. So you must be in the middle there somewhere. Only 5% country lives in this time zone. Okay, so it's probably similar here to South Australia. For some reason, they're 30 minutes behind Victoria. Now, a state, not sure you're familiar with the country of Australia, but you've got obviously Western Australia, which is a fair chunk. About a third of Australia is Western Australia. There are 2 hours difference to us here in Victoria. Then you've got South Australia in the middle, which is half an hour behind Victoria, and then the eastern side, which are all the same. So it's interesting. All right, mate. So there's Carl in the chat. G'day to you too, mate. G'day, tuning in. Nothing better than Barry Michaels ringside, I say. Yeah, well, actually, we've got another fight there before I get to that. There's 6 fights on there. The other one is Malachi Kateen and James Noonan. That's not actually on the card. So it must only be a 3 or 4 rounder, I would think. Yep, Carl and whoever's there, say good day to D-Style. I'm sure you all view his show. Yeah, 30 minutes, mate. I know it sounds ridiculous. They are 30 minutes behind Victoria. So they're in between Victoria and Western Australia. Check your map, South Australia. Why would you bother? Just put us in the same time zone. I know you can't do it because it's the equator and all that sort of stuff, but yeah, it doesn't make much sense, does it? Getting back to Carl, yeah, nothing better than Barry Michael. Unfortunately, I can't hear much of what he's saying, mate, but he is one of the legends, obviously, of Australian boxing, former IBF 130-pound champion, and such a great guy is Barry Michael, and I really like his commentary too. I think he does a really good job. I think they should use him more than what they do. I think he knows a hell of a lot more than a lot of those other so-called experts that we seem to get on our telecasts over here. So that's St Kilda 1, 2, 3. How you going there, mate? Thanks everyone for tuning in. I know we've got 2 nights in a row here. I'm asking a lot by getting everyone to tune in. But if you are watching, I know there's not going to be a lot, but I hope you enjoy the fights. There's Peter Maniatis there with Matt Sheehan at the weigh-in. Of course, if you watch this channel for a while, you know who Peter Maniatis is. So he's there with Matt Sheehan at the weigh-in. There's Jack Brubaker weighing in. Looks pretty good. Looking at his record, he's 18-5-2. As they put up Mitch Leake, pretty untested so far. When was his last fight? So he last fought in April, so only a couple of months ago. He had the win over Induk Sial in Adelaide. Before that was the loss to Nikita in August last year. He's fought Stevie Spark, lost to him. Tim Tszyu, of course, lost to him as well. Early in his career, he lost other losses. Chris George, I think Camille Balla was in there as well. Yep, Camille Balla, early in his career. So he's fought a lot of good guys. Apart from Camille Balla, which was early in his career, looking at some of those guys there, he's fought, as I said, Chris George, Ty Telford, draw with Ty. I thought he was pretty lucky to actually get that draw. Danny Kennedy, tough fight. He stopped Tim Tszyu, Steve Spark. Troy O'Malley, another good win for him. And then the last 2 fights. So we'll see what he's got tonight. We'll have a quick look at Mitch Leake. Keep the comments coming there too, guys. So Mitch Leake, I'm not sure. Look, he had the win over Adrian Rodriguez in his last fight. That's probably his best win. Although he did have a stoppage win over Lockie Higgins. Jaden Riddell, Damien Locke, ex-Carlton player as well. So they're probably his greatest hits there. So should be a good fight. We'll get to a couple more comments. Shout out to Carl, the boxing kangaroo. What's your thoughts on BoxRec Australia's pound for pound list? They got Sam Goodman above Jai Opetaia. Well, I haven't actually seen the list Carl. But as we speak, I'm going to have a look right now. But without even looking at the list, I can tell you 100%. I think it's an absolute crop. They go on algorithms, which is ridiculous. And even if you were going on algorithms, how could you possibly have Sam Goodman's, whether it be points, whatever the hell they work it out to? How? In a way, ducking Sam Goodman. I like that, Achilles. I like that, mate. Even based on whatever algorithms they come up with, how could you have Sam Goodman above Jai Pataya? That's why I don't rate BoxRec at all. Not one bit. Let's have a look. All right, so we'll go to Australia. Let's have a look. I'm not sure I can share the screen here, guys. I'll have to... And forgive me as I talk around the corner there. I've got 3 screens here, so... All right, let's go through it. No, I've got it up now, Carl, so we'll have a quick look as we're going. All right. Okay, all right. Bear with me here, guys. Let's go through it. Well, some of these are arguable, but what's that, Achilles? Sam Goodman will no mas Inoue. That means no more. He will outbox him, beat him down, taunt him, and make him quit. Achilles, mate, I know you like hanging it on the Aussies a little bit, but that's even for us, that's too much, mate. Look, hey, we all wish or hope that Sam Goodman gets a win, but he is quite the fighter, is Naoya Inoue. We're just about to get the first fight underway too, guys. You can dream there, I think, Achilles. All right, as they start the ring walks for the first fight. Let's go through the top 10. Thanks for bringing that up, Cole. Gives us something to do as we get through these fights. Number 1, Liam Paro. Okay, it's arguable, but not totally disregarding. So Liam Paro is the king of Australian boxing according to BoxRec. Okay, and there were a couple last night on Talking Boxing that said the same thing. So not completely ruling that out. So we're off to an okay start. Tim Tszyu, number 2 for Timmy Tszyu. All right, so again, not hard, or pretty hard to argue with that. This is where it gets interesting. Sam Goodman at number 3. Number 4 is Jai Pataya. Number 5 is Jason Maloney. Number 6, Dana Coolwell. Number 7, Nikita Tszyu. Number 8, who the hell is that? Alexander Divya. Now that is a misprint there, guys. We've been through this before. He is actually pretty sure he's Russian. I'm not even counting him, so I put a line through him. All right, then we've got Cesar Matteo Tapia. We'll put him at number 8. Justice Hoodie at number 9. George Kambosos at number 10. Andrew Maloney at number 11. And if you're looking at this online, guys, again, I've put a line through the Russian. Liam Wilson, number 14. Michael Zarafa, 13. Connor Wallace, number 12. I just think we're missing someone, are we? All right, well, that's obviously just ridiculous. That is ridiculous. What's that there, Carl? L-Dog is a massive Sam Goodman fan, repping all the way from New Zealand. Sammy must have sent BoxRec a nice donation. Dana Coolwell way too high. Look, Dana Coolwell... Look, I would probably put Dana Coolwell probably at number 2 behind Alex Winwood as the top of that next wave coming through. The ones that maybe haven't got enough fights yet to really qualify for anything worthwhile yet. They're just on the fringes and building their career up. But that is, I don't even know who Dana Coolwell's beaten to even. Well, let's have a look. This is probably a Wednesday night situation here as a special episode, to be honest. But when you look at it before this fight starts, by the way, so I would think that even based on whoever they fought, you've got Isaac Hardman at 25. Okay, that's arguable again. Rowan Murdoch at number 24. Well, actually, he's probably a bit high because they've got Sergey Vorobev. Now, let's have a look at him. He's another Russian. Is he actually... Oh, no, he has actually had... No, another one. Yeah, he did. Sorry. He lost to Wade Ryan. Okay. Well, yeah, well, let's not count him either. How's losing to Wade Ryan get you in the top 20-odd fighters in Australia? That doesn't make sense to me. But let's have a look at some of the others. So look at this. They've got Dana Coolwell in front of the likes of George Kambosos, Andrew Maloney, Connor Wallace, Michael Zarafa, Liam Wilson, all in front of those guys. So I don't see Paulo Acuso at number 35. Well, that just shows that it's just not even worth. I was going to say the paper it's written on, but the screen that it's on at the moment, mate. That is just ridiculous. All right, Achilles again, man. It's a real shame for the Maloneys. They were born in such a talent-rich era. Those guys can really box. Well, thanks for acknowledging that, Achilles. Yeah, you're right. They have been born into. Well, let's face it. The lighter weight divisions have always been just stacked with Asians and Mexicans and these types of ones and these types of fighters. And they've dominated. So I think they've done exceptionally well to get where they have at the moment, the Maloneys, and both won legitimate world titles. So I saw Andrew box Guevara live, and it was a really high quality fight. That's cool, mate. Where was that one? Was that Melbourne? Was that Melbourne, if I can remember? Let's have a look. Hang on. Just trying to put... Oh, sorry, of course. It was in Perth. Who was I thinking of? I can't remember who I was actually thinking of there. Might have... Oh, Salajar. Sorry, that's what I was thinking of. So, yeah, Guevara. Yep. Okay. Yep. What did you think, Achilles? Did he win the fight or not? All right. So we're into the first round, by the way. It's only 2-minute rounds by the looks of things, so I'll keep you updated there. I won't do a blow commentary because I'm probably just wasting my breath. But it's looks like maybe a 2-minute fight. But all right, Cole says lost to Jake Wilder. Didn't get KO'd on Tasman Fighters. Who is that? Dana Coolwell. Yeah, well, he's lost. And he's a good young talent, don't get me wrong. He is a good young talent. He's 13-2. He's on a 2-4-6 fight winning streak. He was beaten by Ender Lucies back in 2022. I thought that was a pretty close fight, that one. He lost to Jake Wiley as well. He was beaten over 8 rounds. So, he seems to be ahead of Jake Wiley on the ratings. So, but looking at that, I would say Dana Coolwell out. Probably, well, actually, I think I had Nikita Zult number 10 on my last list, but definitely got Dana Coolwell out. George Kambosos in, Andrew Maloney in, and I would say Matteo Tapia out, and Alexander Devi, whatever his name is, out as well. So, and Liam Wilson in as well. So that's probably the way I would see it. Dana Coolwell out, Alexander Devi, whatever his name is, out, and Matteo Tapia out. And in comes George Kambosos, Andrew Maloney, and Liam Wilson. So end of the first round there. See if I can get my mouse working here. Carl says, I like Jason's fight against Vincent Astrolabio. I thought he dictated terms in that one. Well, he fought a really smart fight, Carl. I was at that fight, and it was very, very hostile. It really was, which is so unusual. Being in America, they really tend to warm to the Aussies. But they didn't like the fact that, well, a lot of them aren't, I don't think, were proper boxing fans. They almost reminded me of like a football crowd who just go there to get on the piss and play up for the night and have a night out. That's what it reminded me of, because they couldn't get their heads around that Astrolabio was a tough guy, very well-credentialed guy. And Jason Maloney just fought the fight he had to by boxing, moving, giving him angles, and fought a very, very smart fight. But the crowd in attendance that night didn't like that. They thought the fact that Astrolabio was the aggressor was enough to get him the win. And it was actually quite, I won't say scary, but it got a little bit touch and go there for a while, that we might have to actually, protect Jason back to the ring, because there were some real idiots there, which is very unusual for an American crowd. Normally the American boxing crowds are really good fight fans. They really are. And maybe it was up north a little bit at the top end of California in Stockton. Normally, if you get down to the border, a lot of the Mexican fans are there. They know what's up in boxing. They'll never boo someone. Well, they might boo someone that boxes and moves. They mightn't like the strategy, but they will actually acknowledge that they've won and won't lower themselves to the type of the reaction that they had in that fight with Jason and Astrolabio. So, but he did, mate. He boxed very, very well that night. Yeah, they thought he lost him and booing him. Yeah, it was just ridiculous. And look, it really took away a little bit from Jason. He had to pretty much hurry out of the ring. What I hated about that as well, it was this Top Rank. I know they've got to stick to a schedule, not just Top Rank. All the fight cards are the same. I understand that. But I just remember it was Jason was the main support. The main event was Janabek and who did he fight? Whoever he fought anyway, it was Janabek in the main event. I think it only lasted 2 or 3 rounds anyway, and Jason was the main support with this Astrolabio, and the top ranked chick, she jumped in, didn't give Jason a chance to have an interview, didn't have a chance to really soak in the fact he just won a world title. And this is what happens when you get probably non-boxing people who are just there to keep a schedule. Didn't have any no finger on the pulse as far as the event itself. And the guys just won a world championship. Let him have his moment. She was hurrying him out of the ring. Wouldn't let him get interviewed. Wouldn't let him really do anything. And I was really hoping he'd turn around and tell her to back off. But that's not Jason's style. He's a very, very good-natured guy. And he went along with it. But, geez, if it had been me in there with that, just winning that belt, I would have told her to step off in maybe not so nice terms. So, what's that, Carl? I was ready to throw hands, give the Yanks a bit of what for. Well, we mightn't have had a choice there, Carl, because we all had our Team Maloney shirts on, and we're all at ringside with Jason's family and his team and some other Aussies and that there. And so we got a lot of comments on the way out, a lot of comments. And look, we didn't obviously take any shit from anyone, but it was, look, we had a lot of people, even Jason going to the rooms. We couldn't get down to the rooms, but we sort of walked out around that way and just went out to sort of take a deep breath after the fight. It was pretty emotional for everyone. I mean, we all know, especially like I was there with Ronnie Picken. We'd been with Jason since day one, and seen him lose a couple of world title fights, and a lot of disappointments, even in the amateurs, a lot of disappointments. So it was just a really great moment, and so we thought we'd go out and take a breath, and we copped a lot of abuse on the way out as well. But I'm with you there, Carl. If it had gone down, don't worry. It wouldn't have been me they would have had to worry about. It'd be Uncle Ronnie Pickett. He would have been putting them up. Don't worry about that. Actually, just on that, I know we're just sort of not wasting time, but we're chewing up a bit of time here while we wait for the main card to start. I'm not sure whether I've told this story on here before, but we're in LA once on holiday, me and a couple of friends, and we went to the StubHub Centre for one of the Rafael Marquez. Who was it that he fought those 4 memorable fights? Who was it? I'll put it in now so I can bring it up. These were unbelievable fights. Who was it? Hang on, let me have a look. Rafael Marquez. There he is. Vasquez. Israel Vasquez. All right, so we went in 2007. So it must have been... It was... what was it? Okay, it must have been the... who was on the... what was I going to say? Little Vic Darchinian was on the undercard. Sorry, guys, I was looking for the card. Must have been the one before that. They fought a few months later. All right, so I'll find it here. I was at the StubHub Centre, and Vic Darchinian fought a young Mexican on the undercard. I'll bring it up here. I'm sure. Where the hell is it? I think I could be able to find it. They fought 3 times that year. Hang on, I'll go back here. Where's that one? Let me look at that one. All right, there it is there. So it was in March 2007. And we were at the StubHub Centre, and you've watched those Vasquez Marquez fights. You know what I'm talking about. They were just out of control. I won't say they were Gaddy Ward type of fights, but they were very close. They fought about 4 times, I think. And Marquez beat Vasquez by 7th round stoppage. I think he broke his nose. And Victor Chenian fought, who was it? Jose Victor Burgos on the undercard for his IBF and IBO World Flyweight titles. And Victor Chenian stopped Burgos in the last minute of the last round and ironed him out really, really bad, to the point where they had to get the oxygen. They had to stretch him out. It was pretty scary, and it wasn't a great time. And Victor Chenian, to his credit, was quite emotional as well afterwards and didn't celebrate too much and everything else. But being a predominantly Mexican crowd, it got really ugly, and to the point where Vic was being interviewed after the fight. And I'm pretty sure he might have been outside the ring at the time. They interviewed him just on the ring, sort of around the ring area at ringside. And as he's getting interviewed, all the Mexican fans up in the crowd and the think it was called the StubHub Centre, the Home Depot Centre it was at the time anyway, but then it was StubHub, and I think it's something else now. But what happened is that, or if you've ever been there, it's like pretty much a tennis court. So it's very compact. And so some of the Mexican fans started to throw bottles and whatever they could find at Victor Chenian as he's being interviewed. Now, in a crowd of about 10,000 people or whatever, actually, did I get 10,000? Might have been 5,000, whatever it holds anyway. But let's say 95% of the crowd was Mexican-American or just Mexican, whatever it might be. And you would think that it would be, I'm going to have to cower here and go to the change rooms and wait till it all dies down. Well, Victor Chenian had a really nice little group of Armenian fans there as well, part of his team. There's probably about 20 or 30 of them. Well, when it started, Victor Chenian raced to the side and was trying to get up into the crowd to actually get to these fans. And his supporters actually succeeded in jumping into the crowd, and it was on between 20 or 30 Armenians and about 5,000 Mexicans, and it was going off everywhere. It was good. I mean, it's funny in hindsight. It wasn't so funny at the time, but those Armenians, just absolutely crazy buggers they were. But that's what happened at I don't even know how we got onto that, to be honest. With the crowd behaviour. But yeah, in hindsight, it was pretty funny, but wasn't so funny at the time because we were literally under our seats. It was just going crazy. All right, a couple of more comments there. What's that? Achilles, I don't see Americans get too invested in their fighters. It's not like British fans who treat it like their football club. Different types of fans, Achilles. And even if you look at now in Saudi Arabia, it's very, golf claps, and you don't really get a lot. Just looking at the decision here, guys, I'll let you know who wins. A little bit like Japan as well. The Aussies are even a little bit different because we're a little bit... Here in Australia, boxing, it's not a massive sport. Most people like boxing. Most people will watch it if it's on. If it's a big event, they'll go to. But if you get a massive or a big boxing event, you can probably only be guaranteed that probably 25 or 30% of the crowd are really hardcore boxing fans, especially the big fights. Like if you get a Kambosos or Opataya or Jeff Horn or Zoo, of course, you might get 15,000 or 10 or 15,000 there, but only about 5,000 are actual proper hardcore fans. The rest of them just go because it's a big event, and they're not really sure how they should barrack. A lot of them are just footy supporters or whatever it might be. So it's a little bit different. Then you get to the States and you go to a boxing event there, and 95%, probably 98% of the crowd are hardcore boxing fans, and that's where it's a little bit different. And I know, especially getting down towards the border, as I said before, a lot of Mexican Americans down in that area. Like when I was in Arizona for the Liam Wilson world title fight with Valdez a couple of months ago, I think 95% of the crowd was Mexican American, and they just love the boxing there and the way they cheer and yell and carry on. But they also have a lot of respect. They might boo the opposition if it's a non-Mexican American fighter or a Mexican fighter, but no matter what happens, they'll always respect the opposition. So you won't see Mexican American fans riot or carry on, whatever. They might amongst themselves, but they don't do it towards the opposition. And it was, I must admit, being there for the Liam Wilson, just looking now, Tommy Fitzgerald and the Thai up next. I think he's Thailand. Yep. At the last Wilson Valdez fight, I must admit, I was like, geez, there's probably about 30 Australians here, and the rest of them are all Mexican Americans or Mexicans, but they were great. They booed Liam when he came out. I think he brought it on himself, by the way, because he had the sombrero on, so he probably did bring it on himself. But they were very respectful and gave Liam his due, and that was great. And the British fans, Achilles, wow, they're just something else, aren't they? They are just crazy over there, the Brits. I was also going to say, too, when we were in Vegas for the Tim Tszyu fight, when Isaac Cruz fought, and of course being Mexican, the crowd just went nuts. And when he had finished, you could almost hear a pin drop after that. There wasn't, half the crowd left the building, but even the barracking in that, apart from the Aussies that were there wasn't a lot in the crowd. But the Cruz fight was great to be there to be part of. So we'll keep moving on there. What's that, Carl? Surely you've seen the Deontay Wilder fans. Those guys thought he was God. Yeah, they probably need to get out to a few more boxing events, Carl. Look, I think we all gave Deontay Wilder his respect as far as being able to win a world title. Well, I don't think a lot of us really ever rated him that high in the history of heavyweight boxing. But good on him. He made 10 defences. I know not a lot of them were bona fide, maybe all-time greats, but he still made 10 defences, won the title, and I think squeezed every little bit out of his career that he could. So let's see what he's up to next. I'm just looking at this Tommy Fitzgerald. Doesn't look too bad. I think I'm going to go out on a limb here, guys, just with the opponent. Who is it? Hang on, I've lost the schedule there. I'll bring it up. All right. I've got a feeling that Sithidet Fanasensa, I think that's how you pronounce it, 1-4. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Fitzgerald wins this one by stoppage. Just a hunch. Okay? Just a hunch. Let me know your thoughts. What's that there? Yeah, what's that there? Yeah, mate. They don't ever show up to the fight in person, though. What was that about there? Oh, Deontay Wilder fans, yeah. Oh, there's Jack. Sorry, Jack, I missed your comment there, mate. Yeah, that was at Jason Maloney's fight. Paul George's reaction at the fight. Yeah, the Georgia is Jason's wife. And, yeah, she did it hard on the night because, it was hard for her. It was a very emotional time. And she was probably the same. She wanted Jason to be able to enjoy it, but the amount of abuse and all that coming down from towards ringside wasn't very pleasant. And I think she just wanted to get out of there and get home, I think. So, Achilles Top Hub is something in the air that just manifests great fights. Yeah, it's got a history of great fights, hasn't it? I think it's the fact that somewhat built like a Roman Colosseum with the open air structure. Yeah, well, as I said, Achilles, I'm pretty sure it might be a tennis court, one of the outside type of tennis courts they get at some of the big tennis arenas. I know in Melbourne, I always love the idea of maybe getting one of those outside courts at Rod Laver Arena. The problem is that you never, ever, ever trust Victorian weather. So that's why I never did it. Yep, Vasquez, thanks, D-Style. Yep, Kyle, Tommy Boy, let's go. So I think you said you actually do a bit of training at Alice's gym, Kyle. So let us know what he's like. I'm with you, Carl. I've got a feeling this could be an early night. Again, just call it a hunch. Damien, how are you there, mate? Did you watch the David Nieka press conference today? No, I didn't, Damien. I was on the sites for most of the day, and I didn't actually see anything about David and Nieka. Is that how you pronounce it? And Nieka? Nice outfit there by Tommy Fitzgerald, by the way. It's like an Eskimo type of setup. It's light blue and white. It's got the hood with the Santa Claus white fluffy bits around it. No, let me know what happened, Damien. Put it in the chat there, mate. Carl says, did you hear the news that Joseph Parker has started his own promotion venture to help try and get New Zealand boxing moving again? Great initiative, that is the case, Carl. And Joseph Parker, I don't think we've ever had anyone say a bad word about Joseph Parker. He's an absolute star as a fighter and as a person. So that wouldn't surprise me. And that's great to be able to put something back into New Zealand boxing, because New Zealand boxing has struggled the last few years. I know, what's the guy that wears the thongs all the time in the ring? Is it Peach? Peach Boxing's doing really good things over there. All things aside, mate, put on some shoes. Well, it's not that hard to put on a toe-covered shoe. Anyway, that's another argument. That's my soapbox from last night. But yeah, I think Peach Boxing is doing really good things over there. So let's hope now that if they've got someone like Joseph Parker who can maybe do the promotional side of things, then maybe we might actually get New Zealand going, because New Zealand's always had good boxers. I remember when I was fighting, more so amateurs. I think they had. I think I might have. In my last year, I fought a young guy named Daniel Codling was his name, and he ended up going to the Olympics in 2000, I think. And they had probably 3, 4, even 5 guys that actually made the finals. The Aussies, as always, sort of cleaned up at the Oceania Games. But I remember, actually the other one I remember is Garth. What was his name? Heavyweight, I think he was. He could go all right. Who can forget David Tua? Shane Cameron. So they've had some good fighters, but that is the case, Carl. That is really good news. I'll go to that one. Sorry, hang on. We'll go back here. All right. Carl, with the fall of DNL, most fighters have gone to No Limit. Yeah, it's a real shame. I'm not quite sure. Well, I have heard bits and pieces about what happened with DNL, but I'm not 100% sure. But that is a real shame that DNL has if it is the case, has ceased. That is not great news because, I mean, as most of you that watch this show or the channel know, I did 3 promotions with Dean, and just the guru as far as putting on boxing events. He really was, and fell out of Australia because of the TV situation. Of course, that went to No Limit and went to New Zealand. It looks like that's fallen over as well, so that is a real shame. As we get into round 1 here, guys, Tommy Fitzgerald and what's his name? Sithadet Fanazenya. That's what we're going to call. I'll just call him the Thai. To the point where he's actually wearing Team Alice trunks. Now, I'm going to look him up here. Now, surely he's not. Maybe he's based in Australia. No? Well, maybe he is because he's had all his fights here in Australia. So he's had a win over Tohan Pham back in 2023, but he's lost all the rest of them. So anyway, we'll see what he has to offer. But maybe he's based in Australia. If he's wearing Team Alice trunks, maybe, well, he wouldn't train at Alice's gym, you wouldn't have thought, because I'm pretty sure Tommy Fitzgerald does. But anyway, but that is the case there, Kyle. A lot of them, Mikhailovich is one, Pampalone's the other one. So what's that there? Road to the title. Oh, sorry, what's that there? Oh, okay, Road to the title on DAZN. No, I didn't, mate. I will do that now. I'll watch it on DAZN a bit later, mate. So fill us in what happened there. Achilles, I got the call to fight on the card, but I told Duco I'll just wait to fight Usyk for Undisputed. Fair enough, mate. All right, Joseph Hiley says, Carl, I think he's in career best form. Yeah, I just hope he gets some other good fights there, Carl. I mean, when you look at it, he's sort of been frozen out just a little bit, unless he gets a Zhang rematch. And he shouldn't have to fight Zhang again, if you ask me. I know that will probably happen, but he shouldn't have to fight Zhang again, especially if it looks like it might be in China. He's earned another shot, but unfortunately, we've got Fury Usyk 2 coming up. And then we've got Joshua doing his thing, and then Joshua will probably fight the winner of Usyk and Fury. So he might be frozen out for another 12 to 18 months, which is a real shame. But he's in career best form, Carl, for sure. What's that? Peach is a good dude, but those flops need to go. Mate, if you do know him, say, look, it's not that hard. And I'm surprised they don't actually have regulations. I know in the amateurs, you're not allowed to wear a hat in the corner of the amateurs, which I think is absolutely ridiculous, but they have rules. Same thing, your toes have got to be covered with shoes and all the rest of it. They have standards. They've actually got to wear rubber gloves in the amateurs as well. So why in the pros is it a free-for-all? Surely you would think in this day and age, the corner would have to wear rubber gloves. And I'm all for wearing hats, but cover your toes. It's not that hard. We just don't seem to have any standards in the pros for some reason. What's that? They used to have the Aussies versus New Zealand amateur card and used to be 50-50. Yeah, no, it did. As I said, mate, I mean, I haven't fought for 25 years, but I remember at the time, there was always the Aussies and the Kiwis, and I'm sure a lot of you would have lost bets on that fight because it has gone past the first round. So I think Tommy Fitzgerald is going to get a clip when he gets back to the. I think that he let that fight go past the first round. I'm not sure they do those events anymore, Achilles. I'm just not sure New Zealand have got any decent fighters these days. I'm not sure. I know with the Aussies, they've got a full team bar one going to Paris. I think it was the heavyweights. I think poor old Adrian Paoletti missed out. He's the only fighter on the Oz team that missed out on qualifying for Paris. So I'm not quite sure. Let us know if you do. How many Kiwis have qualified for Paris? Was that Carl? What's your fight over to his brother? He definitely left a low blow, yeah. Wasn't a great way to win, to be honest, Carl. That was the Olympic trials, so it was a little bit disappointing to win that way, but it wasn't my fault that he kept hitting me low. So that was, if you haven't seen it, his name, was it Alex? I think it was Andrew Tour, wasn't it, Carl? You've seen it? Andrew Tour was his name, and he had a bit of a habit of going low, unfortunately. Lucky I had the protector on. What's that? Damien. Oh, look out. What happened there? Tommy Fitzgerald has hit the canvas. Is it a knockdown? No, it's a slip. The Thai definitely thought it was a knockdown. Geez, the size difference is massive there too. I wonder what the... Hasn't actually got the weight, but he looks about a foot shorter than Fitzgerald does the Thai. What's that, mate? I missed your live yesterday. I didn't get the damn notification. Sorry about that, mate. Watched it today. Great big. Keep up the great work. I'm excited about this Niika news. Finally, something good for New Zealand. All right. Well, let me know, Damien, what actually happened. I want to know. I'll look it up later. But yeah, if that is the case, and he's a good fighter, David Niika. He's an excellent fighter. So let's hope that is some good news for the Kiwis, mate. Because all things aside, we go at each other a fair bit. But we have got a healthy relationship, the Aussies and the Kiwis, a bit like the Yanks and the Canadians. And apologies about the talking boxing, mate. I did put it on Instagram and that sort of stuff, but I had a feeling we might miss a few. Although the viewership wasn't too bad anyway. All right, Achilles boxing is pretty dead in New Zealand. Many gyms just focus on fitness classes and don't train fighters. A real shame. Well, that's why we need the peach boxings of the world to hang in there. Just on this fight too, guys, round number 2, just over a minute to go. And look, it's probably been a lot more competitive than I thought it would be. And the little Thai is giving Fitzgerald a half-decent fight at the moment. Switching between orthodox and southpaw. And Fitzgerald just having a little bit of trouble with him coming in and out of range so much, I think. But that's why you fight these types of guys, these cagey little fellas. He's only had 5 fights, so a long way to go. Is that Damien? Bad they could produce some monsters over there in New Zealand, yeah. But who can forget David Tua? He was a killer. Carl, the Tommy guy, is getting knocked out fighting like this. Well, I was just going to say that, Carl. He's been tagged a few times, and he actually looks a little bit flustered. This fight is over 4 rounds, so I'm sure he'll get the decision, but hasn't had his own way at all, which can happen. Sometimes he's obviously the A side with a record of 5-0 compared to 1-4. Maybe he's just come in and thought he'd just get the job done and hasn't sort of stuck to what's got him to this point so far. I'm going to have a quick look at his record, by the way. See who he's beaten to get to 5-0. That normally tells a little bit. First guy was 1-7-1, sorry. The next one was 0-2. The next one was 10-23. The next one actually had a winning record. He was 4-2. The one after that was making his debut. So this is probably this guy's got a 20% winning record as well. So look, this is what you got to do. You've got to have these types of fights, but I think he'll learn a little bit out of tonight's fight. Yeah, he's wearing a few for sure. Look, I'd say I'm just showing, yeah, it was definitely a knockdown. Sorry, not a knockdown. They sort of came in at the same time and collided, and the momentum of the Thai coming forward knocked Fitzgerald down. But he had some success. He could have even maybe won that round. I doubt they'll give it to him, but anyway, we'll see. Ty's going to have to give him the right act. That's the train. That's Ty Tavanusa. Is that right, Kyle? From memory. Carl says some good fighters have come out of New Zealand. They certainly have over the years. It's all about MMA with City Kickboxing, Adesanya and Volk. Okay, I was hoping maybe that enthusiasm would spill over into boxing, but it doesn't seem so. Yeah, I think we've probably underestimated the MMA side of things, because when you think about it, a lot of the good MMA Kiwis are the Pacific Islanders, whether it be Maori, or Samoan, or whatever it might, Tongan, that maybe live in New Zealand. So maybe that's got a little bit to do with it. A lot of those have always been into boxing, and maybe the MMA suits them a little bit better. Okay, so Niika signed with Joseph Parker, and his fights will be on DAZN. Okay, good stuff. That'll be this region's DAZN, of course, which Tasman fighters have the rights to. This little Thai guy can actually fight. Yeah, well, I was thinking the same, Carl. Look, as I said, I think Tommy Fitzgerald will get the decision. We're a minute down into round number 3. But as I said, mate, I think we all know who the A side is. So I'm assuming he will get the decision. But it's been a good test for him. It's been scrappy. It's been in close. Not much between the two, but I've got a feeling what fighter the judges will be looking at there, Carl. There's Glenn in the chat. How are you there, mate? We're just watching the Premier Boxing Series, which I think the two main events will be a very good scrap. And even the next fight, which is, well, probably be Brody Holland and Stephen Baker, that'll be a good scrap. Neither one of them will have a clue what they're doing, but two ex-footy players will be good. AFL footy players, of course. And then Clay Smith being the ex-footy player as well. He's fighting Jamie Phillips. So I'm not sure much about those guys. But then the two main events, or two co-main events, good fights. Really good fights. Should be quite even. What time is the main event? Good call. I would say about 9. No, hang on. I would say this fight will be over by 8. Then we've got two other fights. Up to about, I would say maybe 10 o'clock, maybe 9, it's nearly 8, maybe probably about 9:30, I would say. Glenn, just to guess. I think they'll want this over by about 10:30. Is what these events are designed for. Almost like a midweek footy game, a 3-hour block, 3 to 3.5 hours. Jimmy Thunder. Who can forget Jimmy Thunder, Carl? He was awesome back in the day. What's happening here? We've got a point being taken away. Geez, that's convenient, isn't it? A point taken away from the tie. In a 4-round fight, you may as well say that is done and dusted. Yeah, I used to love Jimmy Thunder too. Geez, he could punch. Imagine him and David Tua fighting. Oh, wow. I would probably give David Tua the edge, just because his technique was a little bit better, and he might be able to get underneath and in between those arms of Jimmy Thunder, who was just like a big cardboard cutout, wasn't he? He just sort of a bit like George Foreman used to be. There wasn't much to him, but now he's getting another warning. Is the tie? Sorry, Damien, I missed your comment there. Any good events between now and August 4? Is this Australia you're talking about, or is this worldwide? We'll first have a look at Australia, eh? As we get through these fights. We'll call this just Talking Boxing night number 2 so far. All right, well, after this one, so the 22nd of June, another one at Melbourne Pavilion. Not really familiar with many of the guys on that card. I'm looking at the big cards. Let's have a look. So we've got June 29th. That's the Wildfighter card. Max Reeves, Tongo. There you go. Tongo. Should be a good fight, that one. Caesar African and Lachlan O'Shea on the undercard will be good, as will Taylor Jensen, D.D. Hobbs. Nathaniel May, Jose Matias Romero will be a good card. That is the No Limit on Fox. Not quite sure as much after that, to be honest. Then you've got the pay-per-view, Sam Goodman and the tie. That is July the 10th. Ibi Bella, Jalen Tate. Look out for that one. That is the 20th of July. 25th of July is Jake Wiley, Blake Minto. That will be a pretty good fight as well. Another one at Melbourne Pavilion, and that's, I think, pretty much about it. There's a card in August, Thursday, August 1st, at the Bella Vista Hotel. You've got K. Scott on the undercard with a TBA opponent. I said last night, why don't they put her in with Desley Robinson? I thought Desley Robinson won that first fight. Wants the rematch, why not slip that fight in there? What do I know? There's another one, 23rd of August there, guys. Joel Camilleri, Wes Kappa. That should be a good fight with Victor Nagby and Sergey Vorobev on the undercard. That will be a good card. So that's about it, I reckon. All right, we'll go through some comments here. Oh, is that what it was, Carl? Taking a point off for hitting after the break. Okay, I didn't see it. We're a minute down in the round 4. The good news is it's almost over. Look, he's looked okay, Tommy Fitzgerald. Just okay. I think he's been exposed to... Well, exposed is a harsh word, but we'll say exposed. That as just a young fighter who needs plenty of more fights. And it might just be a good thing to get a bit of a reality check that you might be 5-0 fighting guys with 20% win-loss records, but it's a massive step up, even against someone like this guy who looks quite seasoned and quite capable for a guy with a 1-4 record. So it's been a scrappy affair, though. Hasn't been a good fight at all. And I think Tommy Fitzgerald just been sort of dragged into a little bit of a wrestling match, being very scrappy, a lot of clinches, a lot of holding, a lot of wrestling. So Ty to is that how do you pronounce it? Tanaya. I think he's either matchmaker for Team Alice as well. Great coach. He's Jai Patai's cousin on the Maltese side. Okay. Glenn Sweat will be home with a big glass of red watching it. Good stuff, mate. Yeah, what is it? 10-8 now. We've got the who do I say? We've got the Clay Smith, Jamie Phillips fight, and the Brody Holland, Stephen Baker fight. And then we have Lucas Miller, Matt Sheen, and hopefully you'll get home to watch that as well too, mate, because that'll be a pretty entertaining fight as well. This fight definitely rigged, says Mark. They just took a point off the tie for nothing. Wow, that's interesting to still see the scorecards there, Mark. I'm surprised he's gone 4 rounds, to be honest, and good on him for doing so. Andrew Williams, the Hammer, a nice guy, helped him with his hotel accommodation many years ago, got a year free sub to his magazine. I didn't know he had a magazine, Andrew. He's a really good guy. He did the commentary for a few of my shows. He runs a great gym. I think it's more Muay Thai, kickboxing and that sort of stuff rather than boxing, but does some great promotions and really puts a lot back into the sport. And as I said, a really nice guy as well. So if you don't follow him on social media, make sure you do. Mark the Hammer Castigani, or however you pronounce it. Heard Jimmy Thunder was homeless in Vegas or LA. I'm pretty sure he might have passed away, Glenn. Unfortunately, I might just quickly have a look now. I've got a feeling he might have passed away unless someone else has already said that. Yeah, he died. When was it? 13th of February 2020, age 54. So very, very sad that was. Died in his sleep in Auckland following brain surgery. So an absolute tragedy there, mate. He was a legend, old Jimmy. His real name was actually Jimmy Pugh, and they changed it to Jimmy Thunder because Jimmy Thunder sounds a lot better than Jimmy Pugh, I would think. Ended up looking at the shape David Tour's in now. Yeah, I have, mate. He looks probably in better shape now than when he was fighting. He looks magnificent, and he wants to fight with Tyson. Now, I know Mike Tyson looks in pretty good shape as well, but he has had some health concerns. If I was Mike, I would maybe stay away from David Tour. Anyway, I think he could still knock out some of the elite heavyweights out there, to be honest. Yeah, thanks, Carl. Yeah, I thought someone might have mentioned that. Yep, he passed away. David Tour, full beast now, yep. Go Bala, so nothing big worldwide. I don't think so, Damien. I'm just trying to think. What do we got? Tyson was supposed to fight July the 20th. It'll take me too long to go through box rate. There's probably 50 shows between now and the end of August, but I'm just trying to think. So Canelo's not till September. I don't think there's any major fights on the world scene. Correct me if I'm wrong there, guys, but I don't think there is. But that fight, Damien, yeah, Bala and Jalen Tate will be a very, very good fight. Jack, yep, that fight absolutely honked. Yep, I think Tommy Fitzgerald maybe has to go back to the drawing board and work on a few things, I would say. I got Jalen Wolf Tate in that one. I would probably still back Tate, Carl. Yeah, I think he's on the up. But as Yusuf Dib found out against Ibi Bella, he can fight. Former Olympian, of course. Of course he can fight. Did win the WBA Oceania lightweight title as well. I think I promoted his 2 losses, unfortunately. I think I promoted about 6 or 7 of his fights. And the last time I promoted him was when he lost and retired for 3 or 4 years. He got knocked out pretty bad in the second round by Rosales, I think it was, the Filipino. It was not a good knockout. And that was coming off getting stopped in Bendigo, it was, by Neil John Tabaneo, who's a good fighter. So Tommy Fitzgerald moves to 6-0 with a unanimous decision over Sithidet Fanazenya. I got a feeling I've just butchered his name the whole fight. So good win. Well, good win to have on his record for Tommy Fitzgerald. I don't think it was a convincing win and a long way to go in his career, but still a win nonetheless. And Carl, that's probably one of the ones I'm really looking forward to is the Tate and Bella fight. Tuesday night fights, Jimmy Thunder, big KO of a guy who went the distance with Foreman. Now, what was his name? Was he the guy with the bleached blonde hair? Was that who it was? I can't remember. Was it who was it? I know the one you're talking about, but yeah, it was. Was that the one that was in like the first punch he threw? He knocked him out. Andy there in the chat. All right, Shamrock 1-1. Shamrock 11 or Shamrock 1-1, however you want to pronounce it. It's just tuned into 7. It was at the first fight. No, that was the second fight. Shamrock. The first one is not actually on Box Rec. I think they've maybe thrown that together at the last minute. I can't even remember the names, to be honest, because this was supposed to be the first fight, Tommy Fitzgerald. So next up will probably be, I would say it might be Brody Holland, Stephen Baker, and then Clay Smith, and then into the two main fights. So what weight were these guys? Super lightweight. So there's some fights out there for him. I'm just trying to hear what he's got to say. I'm hoping he's not calling out the rest of the division in Australia because he's got a long way to go. There's the Mule. What do you got here, mate? I was checking out Liam, Paro, and Matthias, and I must say Paro came with that excessive clinching tactic. Do you think that takes away from his win? And how do we outlaw excessive clinching? Look, Mule, I'm with you as far as trying to eliminate excessive clinching, but to me that wasn't excessive at all. I think it was the exchange. They would quickly clinch, and one of the half decent things the referee did was separate them pretty quickly. So it's not like the referee had to get in. Sometimes you'll see in these fights the referee's got to physically separate the guys, the fighters. In this instance, I thought it was that Liam did it right to the point of being legal to being illegal. Oh my God, I'm looking at Brody Holland on the pads out the back. Ex-AFL player, of course. But yeah, I don't think it was excessive at all, Mule. I think, and even to that point with Haney against Haney against Kambosos. Look, I wasn't one of the ones that said it was excessive holding. I thought he used it as a tactic and he used it well. But for Liam against Matthias, I don't see it as excessive at all. Yes, there was some clinching there, but he clinched when there's no actual rule, I suppose, that says that you can't get tangled up and you ended up in a clinch or whatever it might be. There's a difference between clinching and holding. And Liam was clinching. As soon as the referee said break, he would step back. So no dramas. If there was excessive holding, then that's a bit different. But in this instance here, 1, I don't think it was excessive, and 2, I don't think it takes away from his win at all. All the great fighters do it. Look over the years of all the best fighters of ever in history that we've ever seen. You watch them closely. The good boxers I'm talking about, not the sluggers, but even the greats, Roy Jones Jr. and Bernard Hopkins and Floyd Mayweather, all those guys, they use clinching when they needed to help with their game plan, and it didn't take away from their legacy. So again, yes, there was some clinching, but definitely not holding. I see you touching on the Haney Kambosos one. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Damien, did you see Devin Haney crying about Eddie Hearn not bidding on the Sandor fight? I did, Damien. Just hang on a second. I'm just going to turn down my heater in here. I've got it's a little office and the door's closed. And I've got my heater on about 23 degrees, and it feels like it's 33 in here at the moment. Yeah, I did, mate. Well, end of the day, I mean, Devin will probably come out next and say, well, I'm not working with Eddie Hearn ever again and this sort of stuff. Well, end of the day, Eddie Hearn is, all right, well, whatever. There's 50 other fighters I could have in front of you. I'm the one that's spending my time and money on the events. You just have to train and fight. So I don't think Eddie Hearn would be too stressed. But I think Devin Haney, I think it's a wake-up call to where he sort of falls in the scheme of things now. He's not hot property. He has got the belt, but he's not. It's not an attractive fight. The Sandor fight, it's an okay fight, but I'm not sure that the fight even goes ahead yet, Damien. I know Top Rank won the purse bid. I think it was $2.42 million. I wouldn't be surprised if Devin Haney just says, well, for $1.5 million, if he's going to get paid, why bother? I may as well try and get the Garcia rematch, or Liam Paro fight would be another one he could probably take. I know, though, I think when's he looking to fight? September, October. I'm sure Liam could probably back up. And especially if they did it here in Australia, they'd probably make $3, $4, $5 million each. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I know Devin Haney's dad, Bill, has also said that he's not going to negotiate any of his fights until he gets his record restored. Well, I wouldn't hold my breath waiting if I was you, Bill. I don't think that 0 or the O is coming back on the record. And here's something I would love to see: Barry Michael, Lester Alice, eyeball to eyeball. Remember that great fight they had back in 1985, and doing a face-off there. That's awesome. It's great to see that. First of all, Lester's in good health, and also that him and Barry Michael are on such good terms, because it was quite a bitter feud they had back in the day. And I'm still amazed at someone like Barry Michael, who has so many tough, hard fights, still sharp as attack. He really is. And I think it's just a credit to his defensive abilities when he was fighting. He had a lot of tough fights, but if you look, he has such good defense. That cross-arm defense he used to have. And Lester, he was my first hero back in the day, was Lester, when he beat One Kill You for the title. What a night that was. So, all right, we'll keep moving on there, guys and girls. If Jalen cuts the bullshit out of his game, I think he can go a long way. Yeah, I agree with you, Carl, but I still think Jalen's got a long way to go. And I think we've seen in some fights recently, and I know we've been guilty of it here in Australia, where you get a winning record and you look $1 million, and then you get a big fight overseas and you come unstuck. I don't want to see that with Jalen, which is why I liked his fight with Ibi Bella. Because I think even though Ibi's had a couple of losses, I think he's got the potential to be a world-class fighter as well. So this is why it's a good fight for both guys. But for Jalen, yeah, I'm with you. He needs to cut out all the shenanigans he went on with in his last fight. Lucky to get out of that one in the end. So let's hope he's learned from it and approaches this one with the right mindset. But again, I think it's going to be a tough fight. I think Jalen Tate wins a close decision, but again, don't underestimate Ibi Bella. Haney is the king of clinching. A runner-up was Klitschko versus Povetkin. Yeah, well, look, again, I haven't got a massive issue with the way Haney goes about it. Do I like it? No, I don't like it. I don't like anyone that fights so negative, but did he breach or push the rules at all? I don't think so. Again, when the referee said break, he would break. The referee at no stage had to physically get in there and pull them apart. Now, I've seen fights where the referee has physically got to wrestle the arm away and pull one fighter off to separate them. In this instance, the referee is saying break, and they separate. So no issue with that at all. Still got to have tactics in boxing. It's not all just a slugfest, and you can't just be all punch, 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 and you punch and the opposition punches. There's got to be some strategy in there, and you've got to push the rules to suit yourself, as long as you don't go over the boundary. And I just don't think Liam Paro especially did that on the weekend. I really don't. I won't complain about BS decisions in America again. What was that in relation to? Yeah, Mark. Sorry, I might have missed that there. Sorry. Fill me in. Devin Haney's moving up. Weller will be elevated. I did see that Kyle, that Barrios has been elevated to full WBC champion, which means that Devin Haney is now eyeing going to welterweight. Will he escape Ryan Garcia if he goes to welterweight? Probably not, because Ryan Garcia will follow him and he will troll him and all the rest of it. And I don't think he's going to be able to escape the shadow of Ryan Garcia. But maybe if he goes up to welterweight, at least he'll know that, all right, well, I can come in at a big, strong 147 as well and not have to waste away down to 140 and before that 135. And they can, if he wins that WBC belt, he puts it out there for Ryan Garcia for the rematch, if he gets found innocent, that is. And we might have a WBC welterweight title fight between Haney and Garcia. I'd love to see a rematch. I think Garcia's got his number, to be honest. That whipping left hook that just catches Haney every time. Yeah, so Damien, yep, maybe he'll get a crack at Mario Barrios. Yep, I think he beats Mario Barrios pretty easy, to be honest, but... All right, Carl, as the guys are in the ring being introduced, and Barry Michael has a little smirk on his face. And I think is that Nigel Snart in his corner. I remember him back in the days as a boxer from South Australia. So there is Brodie Holland, ex-Collingwood. I was going to say a premiership player, but he wasn't. I'm pretty sure he played in a couple of grand finals and lost them both to the Brisbane Lions. And he's up against Stephen Baker, who lost a memorable grand final to Geelong by a goal, and then another memorable loss to Collingwood. They actually drew the first game and he won, and then Collingwood won the rematch. So you got Barry Michael in the corner of Brodie Holland, and you got Lester Ellis in the corner of Stephen Baker. I'm going to back Stephen Baker in this fight from what I've seen on the pads. There's Brodie Holland. Let's hope he can fight better than he does the pads. But anyway, all right, Kyle. Devon complained about Top Rank's bid of 2.4 for the Sander Martin fight, and he declined. That fight will tank badly. Bob knows the business, and Devon doesn't sell. Yep, well, I think the fact that Eddie Hearn didn't bid at all, and Top Rank have only put 2.4 million up. That's for the purses, obviously. So I think from memory, it will be Haney with the 1.5 or 1.55 or something like that, and Martin will get, was that about 850, 900,000. So I think that's the way it works. Or was it that much? Might have been 650 from memory. All right, so it looks like we're about to start round number 1. So this is 3 2-minute rounds. All right, well, we'll have a look at this one because it's only going to go 6 minutes. And already Brodie Holland was sort of doing this a bit. I'm not sure how well that's going for him. Stephen Baker actually doesn't look too bad. We'll see. It's only the first 20 seconds. So anyway. We don't have to watch this one, do we? Yes, Jack. You got to get. That's right. You're a Sainer man, of course. I think your man will win this one, mate. A little bit of revenge for the 2010 grand final, maybe beating a Collingwood player. Oh my God, I can't watch this. I know it's only a novelty fight, and Bakerland's a pretty good right hand there on the chin of Brodie Holland, who has no defence whatsoever. And Tony Moretta, the referee, he won't tolerate any excessive holding. Breaks them up. I wonder how they go fighting 3 2-minute rounds. I think there just should be a basic law or rule, or whatever it might be. If it's a professional fight and it's a male fight, it is 3-minute rounds. 3 2-minute rounds? Are you kidding me? Even for a novelty fight. All right, so it looks like Stephen Baker has got the goods here. At least he's got a bit of head movement. Brodie Holland raises the knee there and gets warned for it. I shouldn't laugh because it takes a hell of a lot of guts to get in the ring. It really does. And I admire them for that. I don't admire them, though, that they've only agreed to a 3 2-minute round fight. That's something I fought when I was 12 years old. 3 2-minute rounds. Fought 3-2s up until I was about 14 or 15, and then it was 3-3s, I think, after I turned 16. So come on, guys. These are adults. Anyway, we'll keep going through the comments. Yes, Jack, you have to watch this one. Another swinging overhand right from Stevie Baker, who I think won that round pretty easily. All right, Carl. The problem is Devon's a free agent. If you're not going to make a commitment, you're not going to get support, especially with Devon's style of fighting. Great point there, Kyle. 100%. Hit it on the head. If you're going to be a free agent and put your fights out the purse bid every time, then this is what you're going to get. At least if he was signed with a Matchroom or Top Rank, whatever it might be, then maybe they might commit a little bit more to him. But what's happened here, because of that situation, he's a free agent, both Top Rank and Matchroom have looked at it through business eyes. Not through, well, he's our fighter, we've got to look after him, we might have to take a bit of a loss on this one because he's our guy and we'll make it up on another show. No. Eddie Hearns looked at it and said, for our business model, no, we're not going to make money on that fight. And Top Rank have said, yeah, we'll do it, but this is what we're going to bid, and that's all you're going to get. I mean, Devon Haney should be fighting for probably 3 times that, being the status that he is, and the current world champion. What is it, 1.5? Should be at least 3 to 3.5, in my opinion, for this type of fight. He's fighting for 1.5. That's pretty much pocket change for these types of guys. So, yeah, I've got a feeling he might not take the fight. Kyle. I reckon there might be something else out. And the boys start to throw a few at the start of round number 2. It goes pretty quick with these 2-minute rounds. Stevie Baker, he was a tough little nut back in his day. Oh, Brody Holland, turns his back, but did land a right hand there. He's open for that right hand, though. He's sort of throwing the left out and closing his eyes and waiting for the right hand receipt. But anyway, we'll keep going. All right, Mule. To give my man Loma a good shot to beat Tank, or is he too far past it? Good question, Mule. Unfortunately, mate, I think it ends badly for Loma. I know he looked okay against George Kambosos, but George Kambosos is not Tank Davis. And different styles, of course, because George had the style where he's not a big puncher. He can be aggressive, but he's not a big puncher. When he backs up, it's probably less effective again. So Loma could really, whether he was like taking center ring or he was the one on the outside, didn't really have a lot to worry about from George. I didn't think, and George didn't really pick up. He's not that type of guy that fights at a really fast pace. But Tank Davis, as you saw on the weekend, he's just relentless from the first round to the last round, and the way he fought Frank Martin was just relentless, and the way he did it. This is if you look close at these types of guys, Golovkin was the master of it as well. Is they will hunt you, but they don't throw punches. They'll take center ring and they will put pressure on you. They will get within punching range, but they won't punch. They will force you to punch. So not only are you on the back foot and under pressure, but you're the one doing the punching. It's that perceived pressure. And Golovkin was the master at it. And Tim Tszyu fights a little bit that way as well. They'll take center ring and they'll put the pressure on you. Tim does it a little bit differently to Triple G because Triple G was just on you all the time. Tim's probably a little bit more reserved. He'll step up into range. If you step back, he'll take another step up. Whereas that's the end of round 2, by the way. He'll just continually be in your range and he'll make you be on the back foot under pressure and punching. So all the pressure's on you. And then he'll just hunt you down. And that's what I saw from Tank Davis on the weekend. You watch him. He let Frank Martin do all the moving, all the punching. And when he got his chance, he took it. Don't get me wrong. And when he landed those last couple of shots, it pretty much made Frank Martin into a statue and then finished him off with that big left hand. And that allows you to get through the fights a lot better than just fighting with someone. I hope it sort of makes sense. But I sort of liken it to, when they do it with whether it be cycling or the car racing where one car or the bike is in the front and the other one will be just behind them and let them do all the work and just pretty much go along with the ride. That's what I liken it to. So they'll just go along with you. So they'll be with you but won't throw a lot of punches and they'll let you do all the work and tire yourself out and then they'll pounce. And that's what I saw Tank Davis do on the weekend. Andrew Parra went to Puerto Rico, got the belt, went, saw and conquered. 100% Andrew. What a performance. All right, the good news is, guys, we are into round number 3. We are 2 minutes away from having this one done and dusted. And again, full credit to both guys. They've got in the ring. They've had a crack. No dramas with that. I'm just not sure we need to have this nationally televised. Although I know 7+, they need eyeballs. And Collingwood's got a massive supporter base. I'm sure St Kilda have to some extent as well. And maybe that's why they put it on. But it's been a hard watch, even though it's only been going for 4.5 minutes. And Brody Holland looks spent after 4.5 minutes and 2 minutes of break in between, mind you. He looks done and dusted and hanging on now. Ooh, I was going to say Stephen. Well, what happened there? Brody Holland, that excessive holding you were talking about. Well, Stephen Baker had an arm free and let some go, and he's just dropped Brody Holland. I'm not sure it'll be a knockdown. No, it's ruled a push down. These guys doing it extremely tough with 45 seconds to go. All right, Andy. Devon acts like Eddie owes him. You're not a DAZN fighter, Devon. Ain't you supposed to be a free agent? Again, hit it on the head, Andy. 100% right. 30 seconds to go in this fight. Holland versus Baker. A bit of rock'em sock'em going on here at the moment. A bit of holding. Yeah, you're right, though, Andy. He does act like Eddie owes him. I would have thought, though, there would have been some conversations before it went to purse bid, though, don't you think? Wouldn't you have thought, geez, Brody Holland can't even keep his hands up at the moment. He's gone almost 6 minutes, if you will, and he's absolutely gassed. At least Stevie Baker's actually kept up a pretty good pace and has won this fight. But totally exhausted after 6 minutes of boxing. Anyway, but yeah, you would have thought that maybe they would have had some conversations beforehand in the lead up, saying, "Well, Eddie, are you going to bid? What do you think you're going to bid?" And Eddie might have, "Well, what do you think I'm worth?" Maybe there could have been something, but the fact that Eddie just didn't bother to even put in a bid, probably goes to show you what they sort of think of Devon without him being aligned to someone. To put it out there in the open, who's going to bid, and Top Rank just pretty much threw a token offer in. Yeah, again, it shows the appeal of Devon Haney, doesn't it? That was a cracker of a fight, Lester and Barry. Yeah, well, it was an entertaining fight, Carl. Wasn't the most graceful fight, but anyway, glad you enjoyed it. They'll be calling Eddie and DAZN racist. You watch him. I'm so sick of the Haneys. Yeah, I wouldn't put it past him, Damien. Yep, he didn't bid because he's a racist. Seems to be the go these days, doesn't it? But look, Eddie Hearn's a big enough guy. He won't care. He'll be like, oh, well, so what? You don't want to deal with me. Go try and find someone else to try and promote your fights. Because I'm surprised even Top Rank sort of bid. Because I don't think they've sort of... Because I think wasn't Devon Haney signed to them in the first place and then left them? I can't remember. But, yeah, it again goes to show that with Devon Haney being that free agent now, he's not going to get a lot of love out there, and he might just have to keep fighting for these types of paydays. So Carl is Lester and Barry training each of these guys. I think they've sort of been assigned a fighter each, I think, Carl. And you've got the St Kilda and Collingwood sort of footy club sort of thing. And I think Barry might be a Collingwood supporter, which is why he's in the corner of Brodie Holland. But I think they've just sort of been assigned to him. So we have that Barry versus Leicester. I was going to say Larry versus Bester there for a sec, but Leicester versus Barry. I think that's why they've done it. Bill Hack, how you going there, mate? So far, not as good as past 7+ shows. Yeah, I tend to agree, Bill. I'm sort of going to more judge it on the main two fights, so I think, mate. Yeah, look, I was probably looking at the card to start. I must admit I wasn't expecting too much for those first few fights, but from all accounts, Clay Smith goes okay, and Jamie Phillips is 1 and 2. Now he's you got yeah, that's not great, that one. He lost a decision to Darcy Boland, who's, let's just say, a bit of a battler, is Darcy, and lost to him, and then was knocked out by Jackson Emirus in the first round, although that was 5 years ago. So he hasn't fought since 2019. Last fight was a win, though, against Ray Scallone. All right, so the decision's being announced at the moment. And Stephen Baker wins a decision over Brodie Holland. So the Saints get a little bit of revenge over the Pies. It's actually not a bad size for... He used to be a tiny little player, but he's actually looks like he's almost pushing 6 foot there. Both boys. What's that, Andrew? Barry Michael, great overachiever. Leicester had the it factor. Well, Barry Michael still took Leicester to school, though, didn't he, Andrew? Look, I still think Leicester should never have fought Barry Michael when he did. He's only a kid. He was 20 years old. And I know he fought so regularly. He had the war against One Kill You in February. I'm just going to quickly actually bring up his record. He fought so often, did Lester Ellis. And I think it went against him as well in that fight, because it was his 3rd fight in 6 months, which is just unheard of these days. So I'm just going to go back to 1985. All right, so he beat One Kill You in February in 85. He backed up 10 weeks later. That was a 15-round war, by the way, with One Kill You. Then he backed up 10 weeks later with a 13-round. You thought the One Kill You fight was a war. The Rod Sequenin fight was one of the most brutal fights that I've ever seen, to the point where Lester was almost stopped in the 2nd round. He got the 13th round knockout. Then he backed up another 10 weeks later and fought Barry Michael. Just unheard of in this day and age. I just think, one, he was too young, and two, he fought 28 rounds in his last two fights, only within a couple of months of each other. So I think that went against him. And Barry was sort of known to be, well, thought to be a little bit old. Back then, it was 30, which is obviously not that old in this day and age. But was coming off a 5-month layoff. So he was fresh and ready to go. So, but I think the management of Leicester probably just got that one wrong. And Barry, I think, knew, and if you talk to Barry, I've spoken to him a few times about this, he knew he had Leicester's measure. He'd done a lot of sparring with Leicester. He knew he could take Leicester. He knew he was bigger, stronger, more experienced. He knew that Leicester was still basically a kid. It's hard to believe he was 20 years of age. Just crazy. Actually, might have even still been 19. If not, he'd just turned 20. So Barry knew that he had it over Leicester, and I'm not quite sure we ever saw the best of Leicester after that, to be honest. Leicester's one of the most talented fighters this country's ever had. Is he in the top 10? Maybe not. But ability-wise, 100% he was. Super talented guy. So explosive. Brilliant left hook to the body. Yeah, it's just a shame. What's that, Glenn? If Haney moved to 147, can you imagine the beating that Boots would put on him? Yeah, if Garcia did that to him, Glenn, you can just imagine what Boots Ennis would be as a big, strong, solid 147-pound fighter. Yeah, Damien, that's a Devon fight I would pay for. Yes. You never know, though. Anything's possible. So, Glenn, I'm with you. Damien, I'd love to see Boots' dad versus Bill Haney. Yeah. I just wish the dads of the fighters would stay out of it, to be honest. Brody retired way before 2010. Yeah, he played in the 2002, 2003 grand finals, where Stephen Baker played in 09 and 10. So he's probably got 5 years of age on Brody, I would think. All right, up next. Well, Clay Smith, Jamie Phillips. I've got a feeling that Clay Smith is going to win this quite comprehensively. So the records. So we have Clay Smith 2-0, Jamie Phillips 1-2. Clay Smith coming off a first round KO of ex-Carlton player Damien Locke, who happens to be my wife's cousin. All right, we'll get to a couple of more comments there. 2 minutes enough. Yeah, well, in hindsight, Andrew, yeah, that was probably a good thing. Should they have fought 3-minute rounds? Yes, they should have. If they're fair income about being professional boxers, even if they're not serious about careers. If you're going to be a professional boxer, then at least fight 3-minute rounds. There's Sean Thomas in his corner, so you never know. He might be able to go okay. This is Phillips I'm talking about. And Clay Smith with Team Alice. All right. Make it stop, please. What's that, Damien? What happened to that Australian referee? I think it was like 3 years ago when a zoo card kept on telling that corner, to where to go. Okay. Was that, yeah, I do remember that. Who was that in that fight? I don't remember that. I mean, I do remember that. I just can't remember who it was. Yeah, geez. You love undercards, don't you? What's that, Kyle? Think of it like a Leslie Nielsen movie. You'll enjoy it more. Yeah, let's just hope we'll be glad that it's all over. All right, so 33 is Phillips. 30 is Clay Smith, ex-Western Bulldogs premiership player. Both guys are in the ring. So it looks like the Ellis... Oh, okay. So the Ellis boys must train Phillips as well. So I'm not quite sure what's happening there. Both guys train with Team Alice. That doesn't make a lot of sense. But anyway, this makes the Tommy Fitzgerald fight look like Caddy and Ward. Oh, jeez. Two great styles fighting right now. Jeez. Damien, the pure technical abilities of both these fighters, Holland and Baker, are on another level. I'll pay $150 for this in pay-per-view. At least it's over, Damien. What are they advertising here? There's a fight. Oh, no. It's Clay Smith. Good on you, Clay. The old double punch. Haven't seen that in a while. Am I about 1.5 minutes behind me? Sorry there, mate. It's the stream. Bring back the NRL versus AFL fight nights. I'm not sure that'd end too well for the AFL boys, Trevor. I'm an AFL man through and through. But the NRL boys, because it'd have to be at heavyweight, of course, because most of especially the rugby players, are heavyweights. But I think they'd make a little bit of mincemeat of the AFL boys, Trevor. I think years ago, what was it? I remember Melbourne Inga fought Jacko Jackson. I think that lasted a couple of rounds and knocked him out. The Gallen and Barry Hall fight was a little bit more competitive, but yeah, who knows? Maybe they'll put it on one of these events. Calculated pressure, different to volume pressure. 100% Andy. That's what I was trying to get at. Calculated pressure. Composed, calculated, like you said there. Volume pressure is where you're just going after them and throwing punches. That's different. That's a bit silly to do it that way. What's that? Does Michael Cassidy's, what was that? Not sure. What's that there, mate? Do you think the horse racing trainer any good? Who's the horse racing trainer? Andrew? I'm not sure. Do you think the horse racing trainer any good? I'm not quite sure who that is, mate, but fill me in. All right, Andy. Shakur is saying like Devon, where style isn't most appealing, but expects more than he's worth. Shakur, super talented defensive-wise, but if he leaves top rank, pay likely will drop. I think so. I think it would be a bad move, in my opinion, for Shakur to leave top rank, unless maybe he had some pretty good promises from Eddie Hearn. Yeah, but if I would definitely not be a free agent. I think he would look at what's happened to Devon Haney and say, well, maybe it's not the right call. Maybe if there's an offer on the table from top rank, maybe I should take it. And he should take it anyway. I mean, he's got the Lomachenko fight there possibly that he could take. He's got the Brownchuk fight there as well. Maybe Navarrete at some stage as well. And they're all with top rank. So I think it would pay to stay with him. At least maybe sign a 2-fight deal or 3-fight deal. I think there's enough there for him to keep him occupied. I can't believe Bob pays him $3 million a fight. Well, this is Shakur. Yeah, I don't know that, to be honest. Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe I don't think if it was a bit like the Devon Haney situation here. I don't think you would see top rank bidding that type of money so that Shakur Stevenson would be taking home $3 million. I think he'd be at the 1.5 as well. I love how Tank has another KO victory and all of a sudden he's in talks with Loma. It's Groundhog Day after every Tank fight. I just want to see that fight, Carl. I think that's probably one of the next biggest fights we could probably make out there. And yes, as I said before, I still think that Tank might become the first fighter to stop Loma, but I'd still love to see the fight. I really would. So both guys in the ring at the moment. Jamie Phillips looks like he's switched trainers to Sean Thomas. He's having a little bit to say to the camera, so he's pretty worked up there. He's from Geelong here in Victoria, the Bones Boxing Gym. So it looks like he might have left Team Alice. Not sure what he's doing there. He's got a little bit of a jig going on there. The odd tat or two. You see a little bit of skin there. And there's Clay Smith, trained by Team Alice. Yeah, they do, Carl. Tattoos definitely make him tougher. All right. Andy says this is Barry and Leicester. Big brother syndrome. It was like the older brother that beat up the younger brother and still had the mental edge. Yeah. Yep, you got it in one there, mate. I agree. Yes. Hit the like button, guys. Not a lot watching, but if you are, then make sure you hit the like button. Yep, Melbourne Inga smash Jacko. We did Hanoi. Yep, Andrew the Master Blaster. I used to love Leicester. One of my highlights of my early life was the Good Friday appeal. They have it live at the Royal Children's Hospital, and they have the footy players and all that there that take the phone calls for donations. And I actually got on there and spoke to Lester Ellis. And I think it was just after he won the world title. So he won it in February. And, of course, I think it was, late March, early April would have been Easter. And I was probably 11 years old at the time. As round one starts here, guys, I'll give you a little bit of a commentary there. And I got to talk to Lester Ellis. Well, that was a highlight of my life at that stage, was talking to the Master Blaster. We all want to see it, mate, but this guy has little balls. Not sure, again, who that is, guys. Sorry about that. Clay's left hand is banging him. Yeah, this doesn't look like it's going to go too long anyway. There you go. All over. One punch. See you later. I'm not sure why they're bothering to count and why the doctor's not rushing in. And he is out. There's the doctor now. The doctor should have been straight in the ring when he hit the canvas. Shouldn't have even counted to one. But that, you want a knockout? That's a knockout. Yeah, exactly, Carl. And it was a great knockout. Here's Batman. He's back. How are you, Batman? Yeah, that was a bad knockout or a good knockout, whichever side of the fence you're on. So I'm looking here. He just got caught cold. Had that left hand down. Was looking away and, it was a double right hand. It's like a swinging right hand. He just caught him cold. Oh, they both threw right hands at the same time. Clay Smith just landed a little bit quicker, a little earlier, and then sort of stiffened him up, and then the right hand flattened him. Carl, don't get too excited, mate. Let's not get too excited. That's all I'll say. Let's see. Let's wait until he fights a live opponent first. Okay, that's all I'll say. But hey, I'm sure you know him. He's always he's a good bloke. But yeah, let's wait to reserve the animal descriptions just yet. All right, Mule. I'm hearing Canelo versus William Skull is next on pay-per-view. Would you pay for it? No. Unfortunately, Mule, I might be actually going to that fight. And I can't believe I'm saying that. At the start of the year, I normally go over 2 or 3 times a year, and I always go for Cinco de Mayo, which I didn't do this year because I went to the Tim Tszyu fight. And then I'll go in September for another one for the Mexican Independence Day weekend. It used to be Mayweather, now it's Canelo. So guess what I did when flights were on special at the start of the year? I booked a flight to that fight in September. So I'm not really happy at the moment. I'm almost contemplating trading my ticket in and wearing whatever costs they slug me with, to be honest, or just going there and maybe going somewhere else for a week or so as a bit of a holiday in America, and then just get to that fight the day before or something like that. But I did hear it. I don't think it's been confirmed that it's actually 100% happening, Mule. I think what's happening is they've come to an agreement that they will fight at some stage. That's to satisfy Canelo's mandatory with the IBF. So I understand that. But until it's actually signed, sealed, and delivered and announced, I'm still going to just be a little bit skeptical. I would think maybe Canelo said, hey, let me get maybe Belunga out of the way in September, or hopefully Benavides. But let's just say it's Belunga. I'll fight you next year at some stage. Maybe I'll fight you in May. We all want Benavides, of course, but that's the only thing I can sort of think of as they've said, look, we'll fight you. Maybe he fights again at the end of the year. He's done it before. He did it with Yildirim. He put in a fight in between his last fight of the year and his first fight of the next year. He put one in a couple of months later. I think he did the same thing with, who was the British guy that he knocked out? Anyway, he's done it a couple of times anyway, where he snuck a fight in there, and he's got a Rocky Fielding was the one I'm talking about. And had a real easy, pretty much glorified sparring session with those guys. So and you got to give him credit for that. All the negativity he gets about not fighting Benavides, and I get it, I understand it. But the fact in 2 or 3 different situations, he's had 3 fights in a year or 4 fights in 18 months, whatever it might be, to satisfy mandatories. I think you've got to actually give him a bit of credit for that. So I wouldn't be surprised if he fights maybe Belunga in September and maybe backs up in December or early 2025 against William Skull, and then keeps his May and September fights after that. So let's see. I'll keep going through the comments there. Good on you, Batman. Always a pleasure to have you on board there, mate. What's that, Andy? I'm going to see it to believe it, guy. Tank has brought up Loma's name before, but never fought him. Let's not forget Tank lives on PBC Island. Pitbull rematch more likely than top ranks Loma. More likely. Well, yeah, okay. Loma versus Shakur more likely. Yeah, another good way to look at it, Andy. I think it'd be either one of those situations, I would think. I am with you, though. As good as he looked, Tank, Yeah, he's still from that Mayweather mould, and I'm just, yeah, this whole one fight a year thing too, I don't like. But let's hope it's Loma. But if it's not, then maybe Loma Shakur is the fight. So I'd be happy with that one as well. What's the best fight you've seen live? Wow, that's a good question. The biggest fight that I've probably ever been to was probably Mayweather Canelo. That was in 2013. The best fight. I'm just trying to go through them. Just trying to think. Well, the one I enjoyed the most, and I'm sure you wouldn't if you're a Ricky Hatton fan, was Pacquiao and Ricky Hatton. Only went 2 rounds, but what a fight! What an atmosphere it was in the stadium that night. The Brits were just out of control. It's Ricky Hatton, of course. Pacquiao had all probably the American fans on his side, and that was the atmosphere of that fight was awesome. I was trying to think. So I can't really decide. That's probably the best one I've probably seen, to be honest, Carl. Yeah, it's an interesting. I've been to a lot of big fights, but none of them I've really left and went, "Wow, what a fight that was." Actually, the first Canelo Triple G fight was pretty good. I'll have a think about it. Batman, I doubt it's Skull, more like Balunga or even Eubank or Charlo. All easy wins, obviously. Yeah, that's one thing I agree with. Yep, Skull takes step aside money. I would agree with that. So I've been to Vegas twice, but 2 times a year. Yeah, I've been quite a few times, Andrew. I'm very lucky to be in a position that I can do it with my business and all other things. And yeah, I'll probably get there at least twice a year. So been there quite a few times. Lots of big fights. Balunga hasn't done stuff all to get the Canelo fight. Well, if he hasn't done anything, what's Skull done to get a fight? It's ridiculous. Yep, the options are Balunga or Skull. I would think so. Mule. I know there was talks that maybe that the fact that Benavides said he might be ready to go in September, and he has got an injured hand apparently, but there has been sort of rumours that Canelo was all right. Well, you want to fight? Let's go in September. So try and get him when he's at his most vulnerable. So coming off a hand injury, but also coming down in weight is another thing as well. So if they're going to get him, then maybe they think now is the time. I don't think it'll be Benavides. I think it's just too quick a turnaround. So I think it'll be my opinion is it'll be Balunga. And if that is the case, I suppose that is sort of tolerable to go to. I might sort of keep my ticket. But if it's Skull, who the hell is this guy? I've never heard of him ever. I looked him up on BoxRec, and I still had no idea who he was or what he's done. I mean, it's ridiculous. How does a guy like that get to be number one? I know there's a lot of fighters that shouldn't be in rankings that end up in the top 15 or whatever it might be, but I've never seen such an underqualified guy get a number one ranking. Just amazing. All right. Prime Lomit versus Tank at 130. Who would you take? Ooh, at 130. Oh, that's a good question. I don't think you can go past Loma. I think it's one thing that Tank's strong and hard. He can punch. He's ruthless. But good luck landing a punch on Loma at 130. Yeah. So I think he would have the tools to beat Tank at 130. They're interviewing Jake Ellis at the moment. Anyway, I can't hear what he says. Glenn says Loma as well. Carl says I'd have Loma using angles and school Tank even at 45 years of age. At 130, he was just something else. Even at 126, he was something else too, wasn't he? Those earlier fights, yeah. I mean, he was just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Watched the Hatton fight in the Philippines, was crazy. You know what's funny too, Andrew? It would have been great watching that fight in the Philippines. But I remember in Vegas, and we all know the chant that Ricky Hatton has, there's only one Ricky Hatton, and they were going nuts at the weigh-in and at the fight. It was my first big fight I'd ever been to, by the way, in Vegas. I couldn't wait to get there, and it was a bit of a spur of the moment thing. I only gave myself a couple of weeks. It's like, I'm just going. I'm just going to do it. I had a few frequent fire points up my sleeve. I'm just going. So I went to Vegas. It was only for like 5 or 6 days. I wasn't gone that long, but got to Vegas. I had no idea what was going on or anything like that. I just went there just by myself, and got to the weigh-in was awesome. The atmosphere was just out of control. And then on the night of the fight, the singing. There's only one Ricky Hatton, and everyone was going nuts. And when he got flattened, you could hear a pin drop. You really could. It was really eerie stuff. But it was what was well, not really funny if you're a Ricky Hatton supporter or Ricky Hatton himself. But outside in the foyer, all the Filipinos, we all know the Filipinos are such lovable people. They really are, and they're all dancing around singing. There's no more Ricky Hatton. No more Ricky Hatton. And the Poms didn't really know how to handle it. Now, I reckon if there had been any other nationality, it could have been on. I mean, there was thousands of Pommies there. They were everywhere. I'm pretty sure they drunk the town dry, to be honest. Everywhere I went, there was Poms. All carrying on like Poms. Like the cricket or soccer hooligans they are. And we love them. They're our cousins or brothers or sisters, whatever you want to call them. But they had no idea how to handle the Filipinos jumping around, taking the piss out of them. And the way they was there's no more Ricky Hatton. And I think they had no choice but to actually just laugh. And I got sort of caught up in the whole thing. The amount of times the Yanks thought I was a Pom, I gave up trying to explain that I wasn't a Pom. I was an Aussie. I just gave up and said, yeah, Ricky Hatton, okay, let's go. But yeah, it was an awesome experience over there. And the good thing about it, one thing I'll say to people, and I'm getting off subject here, they're still interviewing Jake Ellis at the moment, but if you've ever thought about going and you haven't got someone to go with or whatever it might be, don't stress too much about it. I've been to Vegas many times, well, not just Vegas, but a lot of fights by myself. And because it's a boxing crowd and a boxing environment, you're either at a press conference or an open workout or the weigh-in or the fight itself. You're always around other boxing people. And you always get talking with people and, over there playing some poker and all on the table. They're all boxing fans and it's just, it's really good to go over there. You would never get that, obviously, here in Australia. But over there, even to the point going through customs, handing the passport over. Oh, yeah, so how do you think Canelo will go? Or do you think Mayweather will win? This is the customs guy. So it's a really good environment. And I just encourage you, if you've ever dreamed about getting there, then do it. Don't wait. I promise you'll get over there and have a ball. What's that? Glenn Benavides has done everything to get the Canelo fight, but quack. Yes. Hard to argue with there, Glenn. I've been a pretty staunch defender of Canelo over the years, but it's very hard to defend him in this situation, mate, I'll admit. What have we got here? So we've got, okay. So Palmerbet are the main sponsors. I thought they were putting out some odds on the fights, but no, they're just promoting Palmerbet. Skull knocks out Canelo. Wow, that's a bold statement. I'm assuming you're taking the piss there, Damien, but Lima wins at any time. Agreed, Damien. Mule says, all I know is Skull is 32 years old and his last three opponents' combined records are 65, 44, and 6. I'm going to look him up as we're going here, mate. It's a commercial break at the moment. Is it Skull with a C? Let's have a look at his record while we're waiting. That's pretty good. They've got advertisements for Alice's gym. It's pretty good to get your own ads on the telecast. All right, so that's interesting. He's a Cuban. Is that him? Yeah, okay, it must be him. I was picturing someone else. 22-0, 9 knockouts, which shows he's not a big puncher. So he's actually Cuban and lives in Germany at the moment. So his last win, or his last fight, was only a month ago against Sean Hemphill, who was 16-1, 8-round decision win. Before that, it was Christian Rios, who was 23-18-3. Before that, Abel Nicholas Adriel, who was 26-25-3 and couldn't stop either of them. So not great. And I don't recognise one fighter on his resume. Okay, hang on. Evgeny Shvedenko. I'm not quite sure. Maybe I think of someone else. I just don't know how they can sell that fight to everyone, Mule. I really don't. I have no idea how they're going to come to us and say, we want your... Well, here it's probably only going to be $30 or $40, but overseas they want probably $60, $70, $80. How are they going to get that amount of money and try and sell William Skull? It's not like even he's a bit of a puncher where they've got highlight reel knockouts that they can put on the advertisements of the fight. I mean, what are they going to do? See him moving around the ring and boxing and maybe say this is the next Floyd Mayweather and blah, blah, blah. Who knows? But it's going to be a hard sell. I don't think it's possible. I just don't think it's possible in any way they can sell this fight and get a half decent um, pay-per-view number, or even people to the fight. I might be able to get a ringside ticket if that's the case, because I don't think many people are going to want to go. But yeah, I'm just bewildered by it, Mule. And I've been a big defender of Canelo over the years, but how do you defend this if this is the case? Ridiculous. We've got 2 fights to go, by the way, guys, and I'm assuming we should be underway by about 9:30 for the main event, I think. Let's see. What's that there? Sometimes they mandate mandatories and sometimes they don't. It's odd how that works. Yeah, well, all that's been said is they've come to an agreement as far as what they're going to do. So whether that's step aside money or whatever it might be, I'm not quite sure. But who knows? It could have been. It could be we'll fight you in December in just keep busy fight. I don't think Skull will care too much as long as he gets a crack. But we're talking about Devin Haney earning $1.5 million, taking a massive pay cut to fight Martin if it does happen. Canelo's used to massive paydays, 50, 60, $70 million. What's he going to get for this fight? 20? And at his stage, or the stage of his career that he's at now, why would he consider that a good business move? It's one thing to keep busy when you're in your mid-20s or whatever it might be, but when you're at his age, he's 33, 34, whatever it might be. He's been a pro a long time, might only have a couple of years left. Why wouldn't you be going after the biggest fights possible? Why wouldn't you have said to, unless he's already said it, maybe he's, by David Benavidez' body language and what he said so far, maybe they haven't had the conversation, but wouldn't you think that Canelo would say, well, I'm going to fight maybe Belunga in September, and then I'm going to fight Benavidez in May. And whether I got all the belts, does it really matter? This is the thing. I know they love to be undisputed champions, but you look at Mayweather and Pacquiao towards the end of their careers, they didn't fight for belts in the end. If they did, they were one-off belts. So it wasn't about being undisputed. And I don't know. In this day and age, it's great to do it, but it's impossible to hold all belts. It really is. Although Canelo's done a pretty good job of it, I know, but it's almost impossible to keep the belts. Look at Terence Crawford. He was stripped like a month after he won it. So... And there was talk that they might strip Usyk of his IBF belt as well. So, yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me. But what paydays is he going to get for this one? If he fought Benavidez, who knows? He could get $70, $80 million. This one's probably going to be 20. So I know which fight I'd be taking. So, and don't worry about the legacy. That'll look after itself. It's about paydays at this stage of his career. Oh, Steve Claggett, yep, signed a contract to fight Teo and jumps into the top 10 WBO rankings. It's strange how that happens, isn't it? And Liam Paro drops out of the WBO altogether. Please make sense of that for me. Well, Liam Paro is obviously going to be out because he holds another belt now. So if you hold another belt, they immediately kick you out. But Liam Paro was the number 1 WBO challenger. Remember 3 years ago, whatever it was, at the time to Lopez. And got booted out of the ratings without losing a fight. So I don't understand how that happens. He was number 1 and then he's not rated at all. I can understand it now, of course, if it is up to date after the weekend. But isn't that amazing that Steve Claggett, he's another William Skull, this guy is. So why would Teo waste his time and effort to fight this guy? And he'll probably get $1 million if he's lucky as well for that fight. Just doesn't make sense. There's so many good fights to make at 140. Why wouldn't Teo and Haney fight each other? They're going to probably get $1 to $1.5 million each by fighting these other guys, and they could probably make $10 million if they fought each other. Anyway, it just staggers me sometimes. They'll ask for $80 American. Wow, for the pay-per-view, and I wonder why people illegally stream. Well, they're only just hurting themselves, aren't they, Mule? $80 American, which is about $120 here in Australia. That is ridiculous. Just for your info, guys, we're interviewing Clay Smith at the moment. We're about to have Lucas Miller and Matt Sheen. I'm sort of imagining they'll be on by about 9 o'clock. So they should be done. Well, we might be closer to 10 o'clock if that's the case, if it goes the distance. So it might be a late night after all. I just would have thought with these early finishes, they just keep these fights going. Having said that, I've been to some shows at the Melbourne Pavilion where the main event doesn't come on till 1 o'clock in the morning. So let's hope it's not the case tonight. What's that, Andrew? Went to the Hatton fight supporting Pacquiao, but when they played the English anthem, I was the only one of 1,000 who stood up, even though I went with 20 philos. Were you there? That's pretty cool. Are you with me there, Andrew? It was an awesome atmosphere to be there. I love when they play the anthems there too. And he just says Lama. Yep, seems to be the common denominator here. Skull is the goat. Surely you jest there, Damien. At least Belunga has a puncher's chance, I guess. Yeah, well, as I said, I'm not that stressed about Belunga. I know we all wanted to be David Benavides, but if it's not him, I suppose Belunga's the next best one, I suppose. I suppose that's... And now they're interviewing Taylor Harris, AFLW star. Well, this is okay, though. They're showing highlights of Barry Michael and Lester Ellis. I can't believe it was nearly 40 years ago. Brutal 15-round fight. I still remember, even though I was only 11 or something at the time, I remember Lester Ellis, he had a cut on his cheek. I remember that all they did was have the sponge and they'd wipe it away. That's all they were doing with water. So there was no, he had cuts on his eye and underneath, and they were just wiping it with a wet sponge. And I remember even as an 11-year-old thinking, I don't think that's right. I've seen the Rocky movies, and that's not the way they do it. That's how young I was. No VAS, no adrenaline, no nothing. It was just and of course the cut just kept bleeding. And anyway, we've come a long way. Batman, I would assume it's step aside money, agreed, not a fight yet. That's what I think's happened, Batman. All that's been said so far, this is Canelo and Skull we're talking about, is that they've come to an agreement. And that could be an agreement for Skull to piss off. Here's $1 million or $2 million. See you later. Maybe that's what was said. Or maybe it was an agreement. So, look, here's $1 million. Hope you're happy with that. Or $500,000, whatever it might be. We might look at you either in December or maybe May next year. Or maybe it's September next year. Who knows? Still got the highlights of Barry Michael and Lester Ellis. I know it's all about Anthony Mundine and Danny Green as far as Australian rivalries goes, but Barry Michael, Lester Ellis had the Painters and Dockers versus the Carlton crew, the Gangsters. I remember. But if you know the story as well, you know that Barry Michael was attacked by Alphonse Gangitano, the probably seen Underbelly. He was one of the main gangsters in that. Met a pretty sad end there, and he apparently attacked Barry Michael and bit a chunk out of his cheek because he beat Leicester. I don't know why they've got this chick on. She's currently in jail for fraud. They've got is it Bella or whatever her name is on there, and in jail at the moment for ripping off an employer. So a real stellar human being, that one. All right, we'll keep moving on. That Belunga, Glenn, has absolutely no chance. Again, it'll be entertaining, though. I've never seen someone so ruthless and talented like Skull. I'm scared, or scarred, you've written there, for Canelo. I'm pretty sure you're taking the piss there, Damien, but anyway. Carl, Liam Paro is currently ranked 1st and 5th in the IBF rankings. That's pretty good. Has it been updated, though, Carl? I'm pretty sure now he's the champion that he'll be out of the other rankings. Well, no, he's a champion now, of course, isn't he? Yeah, he's a champion of IBF, so I'm assuming he'll be out of all the other rankings. Jeez, I'll tell you what, they've got a couple of highlights of Mitch Leake there. Just showed him ironing out Lockie Higgins with one punch left hook. Oh, here we go. We've got Taylor Harris, the AFLW star, being interviewed. Yep, she was a killer in her last fight, wasn't she, when she got absolutely schooled by was she Nigerian girl? Anyway, I hope you're liking that money over at Melbourne Footy Club, Taylor. You left the Mighty Blues to go to Melbourne and chasing the money. I hope you're happy. All right, more onto the boxing. Bill, showing the Ellis Michaels fight. Ellis versus Michaels fight. I've watched it no less than 20 times. What a war by two very fit warriors. Well, it was 15 rounds of just go, wasn't it, Bill? It was an action-packed fight. If you haven't seen it, make sure you look it up. Lester Ellis, Barry Michael. In my opinion, probably the most brutal Aussie fight of all time. What's that, Carl? A magic sponge. They used them in rugby league back in the day. Okay, well, it all seemed like, well, I've never seen anyone in boxing with a bad cut just wipe it away with a sponge and water, unless, like you said there, it's a magic sponge. Yeah, Glenn, there's a documentary on the fight. It's called A Melbourne Story. So check that out. I'm pretty sure it might be on YouTube. I'm pretty sure. Actually, I'll see if I can find it as we're going there. Where are we? Lester Ellis, Barry Michael. So just another reminder too, guys. I can't show any of the fight, or else I'll get blocked. Actually, speaking of Lester Ellis and Barry Michael, I forgot that we actually did this. We used to do a series classic fights. So we'd have Mike Altamura, myself, and Peter Maniata, sometimes Tassie Brown, and we would go back through history of the biggest fights and go over what made them great. I'm actually going to put, I'll just turn this down. I'm going to put the link in there for you. So let's see if it works. Pretty sure that worked, I think. Yes. So that is Barry Michael, Lester Ellis, classic fights. That is. I know this is riveting stuff at the moment. Just while we're waiting on Taylor Harris to finish her interview, I'm going to put the actual fight YouTube clip there. And I'm going to put a Melbourne story there as well. So you've got some things to watch. There it is there. All right, so you got 3 things. There's your homework to watch this. Andrew Williams, Lesbian League. All right. There's 3 things to watch there, guys. All about Barry Michael, Lester Ellis. There you go. The fight itself. We did that about 3 years ago too, so just forgive us for the amateur hour of us doing it there. But we covered the fight and then the Melbourne story on there as well. All right, I missed a couple of comments there. All right, Mule. Even Floyd did all his best pay-per-views with Oscar, Floyd, Pac-Man, Mosley, and Canelo. When he fought guys like Birdo and Gaddy, it did bad. You need legit dance partners. Yeah, good point. Well, that was the whole aim of a pay-per-view back in the day, Mule. Remember? I'm not sure how old you are, but I just remember when I was sort of coming through. The pay-per-views were reserved for the super fights. And I know it's all changed, and with TV and streaming and all that sort of stuff these days, I get it. But I remember back then, the likes of, say, Oscar and Floyd, this is probably before, I'm talking Hagler, Hearns, all those guys, Larry Holmes and all those guys. If they're just making defences against whoever it was, they're always on free-to-air TV. ABC, NBC, CBS in the States, and sometimes we might get the odd fight or two here. But pay-per-view was reserved for Leonard Hearns 1, Holmes Cooney, those types of fights. Obviously, Ali Foreman, all those types of. I think they were more actually closed circuit. They were. It was where you go to a theatre and watch them. I think it was. But these days, it just seems like, well, if you're a name, every single fight you have is on pay-per-view. And you got to know things have changed. But look, it's not all bad, because I think the fighters get paid for what they're worth these days. You consider what some of the other sports like basketball and who's that there? Another AFL player. Let me stick to footy, honey. And another one there. Okay. Yeah. So these days, yeah. I mean, these days with the amount of money that's involved, maybe, as I said, considering what other sports get paid, then the Canelos are worth $60 or $70 million, if you ask me. Floyd and Pacquiao, they deserved a couple of $100 million each, because look at the money that it generated. But the issue is when you get, say, in that instance there, you have Mayweather versus Birdo. That's not a pay-per-view event. Cotto as well, yep. Balunga definitely getting stopped. Well, again, though, Batman, at least it'll be entertaining. It's got him as a champion and ranked 5th. Okay, yeah. I'm sure they'll be updated. This is Liam Parra we're talking about. Thanks, Damien. I think a guy like Yard could beat Benavides at 175. What do you think? Well, I think he's definitely beatable. If I was Benavides, I would stay right away from Bivol or Beterbiev at 175. I think he would match up better against Bivol, but if he fought Beterbiev, I think Beterbiev would knock Benavides out. Lots of B's and Z's in there, isn't there? But I think, yeah, Arta Beterbiev would knock out David Benavides. And the reason I say that is because Benavides likes to come forward. He hasn't got great defence. He can take a shot to land a shot. I don't think he's got great movement or footwork or anything like that. I just think he's a good average fighter, Benavides. And I think Beterbiev, on the other hand, is an absolute monster from that Russian sort of mould. And Bivol, I don't think he would probably stop Benavides, although he could, but I think he would definitely outclass him. Oh, Mitch Leake, he's a horse trainer, is he, Andrew? Sorry, there you go. I don't really know much about him. Looks like they have a pretty good gym happening down there, though. Benavides versus Yard is lit. Been saying it for a while. Yeah, it would be entertaining, no doubt about that. Damien, come on, Damien. Don't be one of those people. AFLW. Oh, they're superstars. Haven't you heard? Don't you read the papers or watch the telecasts? The elite competition, Damien. Shame on you. And they should be paid the same as the males. Jeez, am I going to get myself into trouble here? I'm just looking to see I'm still on air. Hey, I'm all for people getting paid what they're worth. I just not more than they're worth. And when you got competition, I'm just on my soapbox here again. When you got a competition that makes zero money and loses money and drains a shitload of money from the men's comp, I've got an issue with that. So anyway, I'm sure it's the same with the rugby league. You get what you generate. And a good example of that is someone like Ronda Rousey. Remember when she came to Australia, she was the number one or the top ranked paid UFC fighter in the whole organisation. And she deserved it because she drew all the money and eyeballs onto the sport. So she deserved every cent that she got, probably more. And then Conor McGregor came along and did the same thing for the males. All right. In the early 2000s, wasn't Lester Ellis implicated in a big drug bust? I may be wrong. I don't know anything about that, Carl. I wouldn't have a clue, mate. I know he's had a few issues outside the ring, but I hadn't heard anything about that, no. Okay, now we're getting into some juicy questions. Do you have Tank on your pound-for-pound list? And if so, how high? Well, I'm going to go through it off the top of my head. Mule, I would say, in any particular order, there would be obviously Usyk, Crawford, Inoue. I think they're the top three. No matter how you have them, I would probably have Inoue at 1, Usyk at 2, Crawford at 3. Crawford's just been way too inactive for me. I did have him at number 1, but I think Usyk and Inoue have now gone past him. So that's the top three, regardless of how you have the order. I would have actually I did have it up here. Actually, let me just get it up so I can tell you exactly where I had him. I saved it on my computer here. Thanks to everyone that's watching at the moment as well. I know this is really riveting stuff at the moment. We're just waiting on the co-main event to enter the ring. All right. Oh, geez, hope I can find it now. Where is it? All right. So I would have Inoue at number 1. I would have Usyk at number 2, Crawford at number 3, Canelo at number 4, Bivol at number 5, Beterbiev at number 6. I would have Gervonta Davis at number 7. Arguably, I'd have Shakur Stevenson at number 8. You could probably maybe make a case for one or two others. I have Junto Nakatani at number 9 and Bam Rodriguez at number 10. So that's the way I sort of had it last time anyway. Now, the Australian top 10. Probably putting this out before I probably should, but I was asked about this as well. I would have, I know you probably don't care, Mule, because I don't think you're from Australia by lots of things, but for our Australian viewers, and there's 20 odd of you out there, there'll be a few others later. I would have Jai Pataya still at number 1. I'd have Tim Tszyu still at number 2. I'd have Liam Paro at number 3. And I know Liam's a world champion and Tim's not, but again, I think we've got to give Tim a little bit of grace in the manner that he lost his fight. So I've still got him at number 2. Para at number 3, similar with that pound for pound. I don't care what order you have them in, like the global pound for pound. I think any order you've got them, that's fine. I'd have Jason Maloney still at number 4. I'd have George Kambosos at number 5. I'd have Sam Goodman at number 6. I'd have Andrew Maloney at 7. Liam Wilson at number 8. Paulo Akuso at number 9. And Nikita Zoo at number 10, which might be arguable, but that's the way I have it anyway. But number 7, I think I had in Mule. You must... what's that? Tank a throwback to 50s and 60s Murders Row. He's a beast, all right, Andrew. No doubt about that. Right, come on, guys. What are we? It's 9:05. You're not even gloved up yet. That can't be right. I hope this is old footage. How can they not be gloved up? The last fight was over about half an hour ago. And I can see Sammy Brizzy there. It's not like Sammy to be behind the 8 ball, so I've got a feeling that this is old footage earlier in the night. All right, the tail of the tape. Miller is 35. Sheen is 32. Height, Miller's 183. Sheen 182. Record 11-6-2 for Miller. 10-2 for Matt Sheen. Should be a good stoush for the Australian light heavyweight title. That's an interesting one there, Mule. David Morrell over Benavides. Yeah, I just want to see a little bit more of Morrell first, Mule. All right, I'm just going to turn my heater back up because I've just opened the door and it's getting a bit chilly. Yeah, I just want to see a bit more of him, Mule. I've always had 10 or 11 fights. He needs more to get a gauge. Remember, we fell in this trap with Subaru Matias. I know he'd had a lot more than 10 or 11 fights. We hadn't really fought anybody. He was the boogeyman, as they said, and he got absolutely towed up on Sunday by Liam Paro. So I just want to see a bit more of Morrell. We know what we're going to get with Benavides. I'm not so sure what we're going to get with David Morrell. So I think look, from what I've seen so far, he 100% looks capable. But again, his opposition hasn't been overly great, if you ask me. There's Mr. Pie Man, Peter Nutt. The Pies. Who's Collingwood got this week, Peter? Who are you going to get bailed out against this week? Let me have a look. Oh, there you go. You're not even playing. Okay, probably for the best. You got a gift last week, Peter, so you probably deserve a week off. Good game on Friday night, though, Peter. Get on the Blues against the Cats. Any news on Tim Zoo's cut? All I know is, Mule, it hasn't, well, I think everyone knows it hasn't healed as well as they thought. There is an interview out at the moment with Tim that he did with Main Event with Ben Damon, and he goes into it all there, and it's just they're just not quite happy with the way it's knitted together, and he's not allowed to start sparring, I think, for about another 4 or 5 weeks, I think, so... I saw they moved Virgil completely off the Bud card to its own main event. Yeah, now is it going to be September? I think it was. I would have liked to have seen it on the Bud card because I think without it, the Bud card for me suddenly doesn't look as attractive. It looked $1 million when they had Tim and Virgil on there. And as soon as that was taken off, I looked at it and went, well, it's a solid card, but certainly at one stage I was talking about it being, one of the best cards of all time. I never thought that, even with Tim and Ortiz on it. But it was a very, very good card and worth the money. But without that, I'm not completely sold on that card as much as I was. All right. On a weeknight, if they're going to stuff about like this, should start earlier. This show is dragging tonight. Yep. Well, mate, this fight was over at 8:30, the last one. And I hope that's not the case there where they were just gloving them up 35 minutes after the last fight ended. They should be in the ring by now. I think the last one ended, about 20 to 9. And at one stage I thought we might have the main event on by 9:30, but it's looking, at best case situation, 10 o'clock here. We might not get out of here till 11 o'clock, which is just ridiculous. But as I said, Bill, I've seen this happen. This is Victoria, and the promoters have been good at this in the past. Main event coming on at 1 o'clock in the morning. Mind you, that's a Saturday night, but still, or Friday night, just not good enough on a weeknight. Who you got there, Andrew? Crawford Tank 1 and 2. No, I wouldn't have Tank up that high, mate. But that's your call. Watch. Looks like they're going to come in now. All right. So watch the feed from Britain today. They claim CBS could match Opataya. Not even going to justify that with a response. Peter, that is laughable. That's just, as I say, easy work for Jaya Pataya. I can't have Tank above Bam just on principle. Good fight coming up with Bam, isn't it? Was it June 29th against Estrada? That'll be a good fight. Yeah, Jack, yeah. I shudder every time I hear the name Junto Nakatani. Well, we were there, weren't we, when he knocked out Andrew Maloney. It wasn't a very good experience at all. Bam's above Tank, okay. All right, Andy, what's that? Ronda Rousey also schooled a reporter like that too. Reporter asked her something about if women's sports people deserve to be paid more, and Ronda hit her with whatever you deserved. I was going to say that, Andy, as Matt Sheehan enters the ring as the challenger for the Australian light heavyweight title. Yeah, good point there. And if you didn't see it, as they do here in Australia, some smart-ass female reporter decided that she might get a sound bite of Ronda Rousey probably agreeing with her that, oh, what are you talking about, that women fighters or women sports people don't get paid the same as a man? Oh my God, what a disgrace this is, and how backward you are down there in Australia, and we're probably looking for that headline. And when Ronda Rousey said, yeah, well, you get what you generate. I'm the number one paid athlete in the UFC for a reason, because I bring in the dollars and crickets. It was absolute crickets after that, and it was like, okay, maybe we better change the subject. But I've actually had that firsthand there, Andy, when we promoted the Jeff Horn, Michael Zarafa fight in Bendigo. The Bendigo media, I got a call one day. I'm not sure I've told this story before. I got the call one day saying, the Bendigo Advertiser, which is the main newspaper of the town, was on the line. They want to have a chat to you about the fight. Yep, no drama, put them on. The question I got is do you think you're exploiting the young girls who are there as ring girls? Do you think you're exploiting those poor young girls? What they didn't know is that we had to beat off a lot of girls with sticks to actually get the job. The girls absolutely loved it. A lot of them were models, they were dancers, they loved the whole thing. And we dressed them up very respectfully. There was no G-strings or any of that sort of crap. They were in nice jumpsuits. They looked the part. They looked very, very nice. And the girls absolutely loved it. And they were absolutely horrified that it would even be brought up. But it didn't stop the Bendigo Advertiser going on a smear campaign of the whole fight. So at the time, I used to advertise a little bit with them with our business. That stopped. And a few times I've been asked for different things with the Bendigo Advertiser because it's my hometown, Bendigo. And I said, go stick it up your ass, because I thought that was piss poor. And if you're at the fight or you watched it, you probably remember that to make a point, Dean Lonigan actually got a ring guy up. So he got the ring girls just to sit aside, and right through the first fights, right up to the main event, he had a young guy walking around. He got booed every single round. So he was a good sport. But that's what we're up against sometimes. And Australia is, as they say, probably the most woke country besides probably Canada at this stage on the planet. And it makes me sick. But I'm glad Ronda Rousey said, I'm not going to buy that. You get what you bring in. I'm the number one paid fighter on the planet for a reason, or UFC fighter, because I am the girl, the woman, whatever you want to call her. And Dana White absolutely loved her and paid her accordingly. So I'm glad that happened, but I do remember that well, Andy. And the reporter didn't know where to go. Yeah, the fight's finished at 11. Okay, well I just still think that's ridiculous, Carl. On a Wednesday night, although I suppose if the football's on, it probably ends around the same time, doesn't it? All right, what's that, Mule? You have my exact first 6. After that, I have Bam, Nakatani, Teo, and Loma. Okay, I just wasn't impressed with Teo's last fight, Mule. I just thought he didn't look great to me at all, I didn't think. What have I got there? So the top 10, so it was... So yeah, in a way, Usyk, Crawford, Canelo, Bivol, Beterbiev. Okay, so you had Bam after that. Okay, yep. There's Jules. How you going, Jules? Nice to see Matt Sheehan doing good things after you stitch him up with Isaac. You remember that, do you, Jules? Yeah, I did promote Matt Sheehan against the head splitter. Now, but Jules, you got to give me a little bit of an out there, because Isaac had one fight, and it was actually against Lucas Miller. Now, actually, that didn't even dawn on me. Isaac jumped in at the last minute to fight Lucas Miller at the Melbourne Pavilion where these fights are. And he starched Lucas Miller in one round. Now, he had some MMA fights, Isaac Harbin, but never had a boxing fight. And at the time, Lucas Miller had probably had 10, 12 fights. And Isaac was called in as a late replacement. And he iced Lucas Miller in one round. A couple of months later, we're looking for a fight for Matt Sheen. He was on my show in Melbourne. And the late, great Stuart Duncan, the matchmaker, said, mate, I need a fighter. He said, yeah, I've got this guy from Queensland. I think he did fight in Melbourne a couple of months ago. He's really raw, inexperienced. He's only had the one fight. And I looked him up and thought, oh, yeah, it's a good win over Lucas Miller, but maybe it was just a lucky shot, whatever it was. So, yeah, no, we'll get him down. And he starts Matt Sheen in one round as well. So I wasn't very popular after that with his trainer, Brian Levere, who I knew very well through the amateurs. And yeah, he wasn't that impressed with me that I got his guy knocked out. He was an up and comer at the time, but Matt's a good guy. He came back. He obviously fought Connor Wallace last year, so he's obviously been on the bigger and better things, and obviously he's on tonight's card. But that's interesting, isn't it? That both of these guys were knocked out in one round by Isaac Harbin. Morale is the real deal. Yeah. Yep, let's see. I think he is, Glenn, by just from what I've seen, I agree. But we also said the same about Matthias. So I just want to see him against some quality opposition, and then I'll be fully on board. Now, introducing Lucas Miller. All right, Shakur, I don't know what to think. He's coming off a bad performance versus Santos. And now he's fighting, Carlos. Is it Carlos Artem? Yep. Who just lost his last fight to Frank Martin. Yeah, well, it's just a tune-up fight, I would think, Mule, but at least he's back. I don't think we ever took seriously that he was going to retire, but good to see him back anyway. Glenn agrees, not convinced about Shakur. We're about to get into round number 1 here, guys. Yep, deep dive Illumini is Peter Maniatis, yes. All right, I'll get to a couple other comments as we go there, guys, but we're about to start round number 1. Lucas Miller, the Australian light heavyweight champion, up against Matt Sheehan, the challenger. So, Premier Boxing Series, number 5. Both southpaws, these two guys. So, round 1 of 10. What's that there, Andrew? When you elevate Usyk, you have to think who he's beat. Fury, good box for 6 or 8 rounds. Joshua, mentally fragile. Still beat him though, Andy. Or Andrew, still beat him. Oh, look out. That's a knockdown. Matt Sheehan has been dropped, and this fight is over, I think. He's been hit with a big left hand. He's gone down. Don't forget Connor Wallace iced him in 1 round as well, as did Isaac Harbin. And he looked very, very wobbly on his feet, but the referee's giving him plenty of time. I don't know. Why would you show a replay now? Mid-fight. And he looks in all sorts of trouble, does Matt Sheehan. And I've got a feeling this fight might be over. Lucas Miller on the hunt. Matt Sheehan hanging on for dear life. We're only a minute into the fight. Let's see if Lucas Miller can end it. Matt Sheehan looks in all sorts of trouble still. Oh, another one. Oh, and that's it. Oh, and he drops him, and this fight is over. Don't like that, Lucas. Get away from him. He's trying to hug Matt Sheehan. Let it go, mate. Let him. I don't like to see that, to be honest, guys. Because as soon as it's over, the hugging and stuff, just leave him alone. The last thing he wants is a hug from you, I can tell you. But that is it. 1 minute and 10 seconds into round number 1. I'm just seeing here. I know it was a left hand, but I know it was an uppercut or a hook. Straight left hand. Straight over the top of his right glove. And he was in all sorts of trouble. I had a feeling there he might survive. He didn't look too bad there for about 30 seconds. And then he got caught again, and that was it. So another left hand, buckled the knees. 1, 2... staggered him again, and then the left hand finished the job. So that's it. All over. We might get out of here by 10 o'clock yet, guys, although I've got a feeling that they might take a while for the next fight to come in. And look, that's the third time Matt Sheen's been knocked down in one round. This is the time where I think you have the discussion that maybe that's it. Life's too short sometimes. And that is it. Good performance from Lucas Miller. Didn't see too much of him. He just did the job. And yeah, 1 minute, 10 seconds. There you go. All right, a couple more comments before we get to discussing this fight. Not that there's much to discuss, of course. All right, if Billy KOs Sergey Derevchenko, I could see him being up next for Canelo. Yeah, I think so. And Billy definitely in the conversation there, Mule. That was a good knockout by Lucas Miller. Talk about cricket. The females who play in front of crickets earn hundreds of thousands of dollars for a snooze fest. So do the soccer players. I think that they actually get a few to the soccer though, don't they, Peter? But look, if they're so what's he saying there? In playing in front of crickets, yeah. Well, these days, mate. Unfortunately, I think they look at, which is wrong. They look at both sports as a whole. Now, I'm not against a women's version. Well, cricket's probably different. Soccer's probably different. We've had female teams of those sports for a long, long time. Should they be getting paid all that money? Probably not. But anyway, but for me, the AFL, and I'm not quite sure whether the Rugby League Rugby League W, whatever it's called, is in the same boat. But they're not elite competitions. This is the difference between them. I know we're getting off topic here again, but you watch elite men's cricket and you watch elite female cricket and elite female soccer. They still look elite. I know they're not as fast and as strong and sometimes as skilled as the males, but for female, they still look elite athletes. But you look at the AFLW players running around, they look anything but elite athletes. They really do. Skill level's shocking. A lot of them can't kick or handball properly. And are only in its infancy. And I'm being careful here because I know Jack Dilks is in the chat and he's a fan of the AFLW. But I really admire them. I think there's a place for it. I'm glad there is an AFLW. I just get a little bit bent out of shape when they refer to them as superstars and they want pay parity with the males and all this sort of stuff. That's the issue I've got. I do love the fact that they have got the AFLW, but it's got to know its place. But for cricket and soccer and basketball, they are elite competitions and they compete on a world stage. So I've got no issues with that. And maybe a lot of their money is funded by, Olympic committees and all that sort of stuff. I don't know, but at least they're elite athletes, or they look elite when they play. I'm sorry, AFLW just doesn't. Let me know about the Rugby W guys and what's that like. All right, Mule. Savannah Marshall just had her first fight with the MMA League, the same that Clarissa Shields fights for. I expect that rematch to happen in the cage. I'm sure it will do good numbers. Yeah, I think so. Yep. She didn't look too bad. Her opponent was pretty average, I thought, Mule, but still got the people talking about it, didn't she? With Clarissa Shields, she was obviously there in the crowd as well. So yeah, I think so. It'll do good numbers. I wonder if that's ever happened before, where we've had two fighters fight in the ring and then they fight in the cage. So Matt Sheen holds up Lucas Miller's arm there, and as I said, I think that for me should be it for Matt Sheen. 3 first-round knockouts in his career. Not a good way to finish up, I wouldn't have thought. I'm just going to confirm that, by the way. So, they've even already updated. Oh, I freeze there. They've already updated BoxRec. So, first-round knockout. His last fight was a first-round knockout loss to Connor Wallace. That was nearly a year ago. Then you go right back to 2018 is when Isaac Harmon knocked him out. So, that's pretty crazy, isn't it? Three losses, 3 first-round knockouts. And actually, his fight before that, he won by first-round knockout, even though the guy had 23 wins and 25 losses. So his last 3 fights have all gone 1 round. All right, we'll keep going through the comments there. Thanks, Andrew. Rousey, yep. All right, Peter. Marshall fought a world champion kickboxer, and neither looked like they had much of an idea what to do. Yeah, I think she was carefully matched, to be honest, Peter. Are you from Bendigo, mate? I'm from Gisborne. Well, there you go. Strange enough, Damien, I actually live in Mount Macedon now. I'm from Bendigo originally. I moved to Mount Macedon at the end of 2017. So I've been here, 6.5 years now, and absolutely love Mount Macedon. I'm actually in Gisborne a fair bit. I go to the Three Little Pigs Cafe down there a fair bit for a coffee, and frequent the Macca's a fair bit for my kids, to be honest. So, but yeah, that's it's a small world, isn't it? But yeah, I'm from Mount Macedon now. All right, Mule. Ronda used to grab her opponents like they were a little sister and flip them over like a rag doll. Holly Holm was physically stronger and way better striker, so Ronda's game didn't work. Yeah, well, classic case, Mule, of the talent pool being about that deep, being extremely shallow. A lot different now, and you're right. All Ronda used to do was get hold of him, flip them, and get him in the armbar, and it was all over. That wouldn't happen these days. The fighters are too far advanced. And Holly Holm, especially, who had an extensive boxing background, former world boxing champion as a female, been in a lot of tough fights as a female boxer. And if you look at that fight, absolutely made Ronda Rousey look like an absolute fool that night or day. It was a Sunday with her pivots and side steps and everything else. Didn't really throw any kicks until the last one that knocked Ronda Rousey out. Softened her up with straight punches and her movement. She had Ronda Rousey just punching air and grasping at air most of the time. So exposed her sort of for what she was. And then you had, what was her name, Amanda, whatever her name was. Oh my God, the lioness. She's an absolute savage. Absolutely pulverised Ronda Rousey in one round. So no, Mule, we got one to go. Sorry, didn't have a chance to commentate that much. All over in one round, mate. What's that, Jack? Was always glassy, poor Matt. Yeah, bit of a glass jaw, old Matt Sheehan. Really good guy though, but unfortunately, as I said, he's a good guy. Maybe it's time to give it away. Yes, Mule, one round. Yeah, I agree. Was that St Kilda 1-2-3? Ref should have stopped it earlier. Yeah, he was a bit slow getting in there. Didn't really need to take that last left hand, did he? He'd been rocked. The last 1-2 really stiffened him up. And then that last left hand absolutely did the job. And it's unfortunately that's the type of punch that does the real damage. Looking at some of the commercials there. Okay, was that Derrim at the gym? Okay, looks pretty good. 1 minute and 10 seconds there, Mule, or about that. Poor show. This sucks. Show the fights. Sorry, Mule, I can't do it, mate. No worries, Greg. Doing my best there, mate. Retire. Do you pay for a Premier Boxing Series subscription? No. My suggestion to you, Mule, they have fights on every month here in Australia, by the way, and they're all actually pretty good cards. My suggestion to you is get a one of the VPN things. I've got Surfshark, so when I'm overseas, I can watch all the shows back here in Australia. But I'm not big on technology or all that stuff either, guys. But if you're looking to sneak around things legally, that is, get a VPN thing. So I'm with Surfshark. It only costs like $20 a year or something. It's not much. And if I'm in America or wherever, I can watch the boxing or football or whatever back here and not be blocked. So my suggestion to you, Mule, is do that. I'm not sure whether you're up with the VPN side of things, but look into it. So get a VPN app or whatever it is, and you'll be able to download the 7 Plus app. You can see the logo on my little screen bit there, the 7 Plus logo, and check it out. And you'll be able to download that, and you'll be able to watch the fights for free. But no subscription, mate. No, all 100% free. Oh, Carl, what are you doing, mate? Toilet break. I wouldn't go that far, Mule. He just got hit and caught early. That's all. It does happen. What's that? Please don't associate me with the W, says Jack. This is the AFLW. It does, however, pay my wage. Yes. How are the Port Adelaide girls shaping up this year, Jack? Let us know. All right, Andrew. Secret men's business, fighting and football. The women's rugby league is good. Some of the girls have good talent. We're just a long way behind. Look, and I'm not hanging shit on rugby league here, Carl. But let's face it, the two sports are just poles apart. In rugby or rugby league or whatever it might be, you're just throwing the ball left to right. I know there's skill involved. I'm not saying there's not, but you've only sort of got to perfect that one thing, the timing and getting your technique right and handing it off, and then it's a running after that. With AFL, you got to know how to kick, handball, mark, all those sorts of things. There's a lot they've got to do, and when they've got to kick the ball a lot, obviously AFL is more of a kicking game. And the fields are too big. I think they almost need to modify it for the girls. They can only kick probably 25 or 30 metres, and our fields are probably over 150 metres long. So it's a long time, and the scores are really low. But that's probably where I see the difference there, mate. And I've seen a little bit of highlights. They put it on Foxtel sometimes, show the girls, and they do look like they're okay. But again, they've only got that one thing they've got to do. I know there's technique and all that as far as running and, dodging and all that sort of stuff, but it's still only that one skill. But AFL's probably got four, five, six different things they've got to master, and I've just really struggled with that's all, and that's probably why they've got maybe another 10 years before we're at a really good level. I love, don't get me wrong, by the way, guys, I love the fact there's an AFLW. And we actually sponsored the Carlton's AFLW. I had a couple of sponsored players, and she ended up leaving, and I didn't renew, but always tried to support the club, support the game. But I have sort of lost it a bit. I'm not quite sure, again, what it's like in rugby league, but they really started to manipulate the draft and trading and all that sort of stuff, and just really took the piss. We probably lost our 10 best players for nothing in the end because all the new teams coming in. And we went from one of the best teams to one of the worst in one season. So it's all good, Carl. Yep, it's okay. That's what's that? Love the female NRL. There you go. There's another difference between the NRL and the AFL. Probably 99% of AFL supporters, men I'm talking about, would not go to the AFLW if it was the only thing on at the time. So if all the men went off to war, they probably still wouldn't watch AFLW, unfortunately. And it's a little bit of a shame. I don't think it's that bad. But it's good to see that up north with the NRL, they at least get behind it. Mule, I'm sure you are a big Opatia fan. Yes, I am, Mule. Richard Ariapor didn't look good at all. Do you think he's too muscular? Do you see Opatia next fighting Bill and Smith or Zerdo? I've got a feeling it could be either Zerdo or Badu Jack, to be honest, Mule. I don't think Bill and Smith wants to fight Opatia. You never see them mention Opatia's name. They always talk about other fighters. They never mention Opatia. Riapor's got to obviously go back and earn his another shot. Just got the tail of the tape there, two guys, by the way. Brubaker, 32 years of age, Leak 23. Record, Leak is 10-0. Brubaker is 18-5-2, but has had those two fights with the Zoo brothers, so he's I think he's more than equipped to give Mitch Leak a good fight tonight. But yeah, I think it will be Zerdo or Badu Jack. What's that, Jack? We're not winning a game, and I'll resign if I have to watch any more of it. I hope they don't watch this show, Jack. The Port Adelaide girls over there. Come back to Victoria, Jack. Come back home to the Blues. Oh, there you go. Sorry. He'll fight McCallion. Is that right, Kyle? Okay, I don't know much about him. Let us know. The Women's State of Origin games are good. That's the NRL. Do they have those on before the men's games, Carl? I don't know. I don't watch the men's games, let alone the female games. But let me know if they have them on the same night. I might see if I can get a ticket next week to the G through one of the sponsors or something, and see if I can go down and see what all the fuss is about. All right, Andy. Ronda Rousey's bread and butter was judo. Her problem in MMA was straying from that and believing herself to be an elite striker. Strikers beat her up striking, but ex-pro boxer Holmes won KO via kick. Yeah, she's softened her up for a couple of rounds, whatever it was, with the punches there, Andy, and then kicked her to get her out of there. I do remember Ronda, where she maybe just drank a little bit of her own bathwater, as they say, and thought that she could actually be a good striker, talking about fighting legitimate male boxers. And I'm not talking just this level, I'm talking top level. And I still remember the footage. I'm sure all you out there can sort of remember it as well, where she was doing a little bit of shadow boxing, and it was actually quite comical to watch her try and do it. I don't know what the hell she was trying to do, but she had a bit of the wobble going, and she's looked anything but a boxer. But you're right. She forgot that she was actually that was her strength, the MMA, the judo and the MMA. She tried to be a striker and got her ass handed to her. Can you believe that she actually tried to take on that Amanda Lioness girl? Oh, she was just brutal. I'd back her against a lot of the guys, to be honest. She was just a beast. Just absolutely lit her up in about 40 seconds. What's that, Kyle? AFLW don't have a clue. At least the NRLW do, apparently. Yeah, I think the polls apart there, mate. All right, we're talking a bit of footy, are we? AFL Swans guy made the All Blacks win 2 World Cups. Forgot his name. I didn't know that. Had I? Let us know if you can remember. What's that, Mount Maston? That's crazy. Yep, 5 minutes. I think it's more like 10, but anyway, yep. Yep, it's a great place to live. I love Honour Avenue here in Mount Maston and Damien. We get thousands of visitors here in the spring when the trees are all pink. They've got a section off the streets and they've got food vans and everything. I feel for the poor old residents that live in the street though. I forgot about it last year. Went to take the dog for a walk down there and got caught in the midst of thousands of people that were down there on the Honour Avenue. All right, Anthony, they're about to enter the ring here, guys. So once it starts, I will do a little bit more commentary of it. NRLW is quality. AFLW is that bad, unfortunately. Yeah, as I said, mate, they're about 10 years behind, I think. CBS, any chance? Opataya? I don't think he wants to fight him, Andrew, and I think if they do fight, it ends pretty badly for Bill and Smith. I think Opataya wins that quite clearly. Yep, Badu Jack, he is a forgotten man, Mule. Here comes Jack Brubaker, the cowboy. No Magic Mike music tonight. Not that I can hear anyway, but in he comes. Looks very confident. Got the cowboy hat on. Really good guy too, Jack Brubaker. Quickly go through some comments. CBS wants Zerdo, then Opataya for... Bill and Smith wants Zerdo, then Opataya. Badu Jack is champion in recess. McCallan is a real WBC champion. Jai will fight him. Okay. I don't care who he fights. I think he beats all those guys. That's right, Anthony. Rousey even called out Floyd Mayweather. Well, that ended well for her, didn't it? I feel for a little bit, though, Anthony. I know we're still waiting on Mitch Leake to enter the ring, and we'll get into it once they start. But I do feel for her now. She hasn't been back to a UFC event since she was knocked out because she doesn't feel like she's welcome. And that's a shame. No matter what she was like as an actual fighter, I think at the end we all saw that she was extremely limited. But she was the reason I know myself took any notice of UFC whatsoever. Could not care less about it. But when she was on, I watched. So it's really sad to think that she doesn't feel welcome back at the UFC. I would love to see her come back. I know she's doing well now with the WWE and with her family and her farm and all that sort of stuff. But that's a real... If that is true that she feels that way, I feel really, really bad for her. But let's hope eventually Dana White reaches out. Maybe you saw her interview, brings her back and gets there. She's one of the absolute pioneers, not just of women's UFC, but UFC in general. So, and it's very rare that that's the case, that a woman carries pretty much a male-dominated sport. What's that, Jules? Missed the watch along on Sunday. Any shout-outs for Alfie DiCarlo? I thought he was exceptional in the corner. Really kept Liam calm and focused in the midst of a referee circus. Yeah, I did talk about it as Mitch Leake enters the ring now. I also... went over it on Talking Boxing last night too, Jules, that sometimes there's a lot of different things that define a very good or great trainer, and I think Alfie DiCarlo really did that on Sunday. When Liam was really struggling, he was, Matthias was coming at him, he was starting to wilt. Alfie DiCarlo really got him going again in the rounds, and he got a win and really drove him home. And as I said, there's lots more to being a great trainer than flash pad routines and all the rest of it. That is a definition right there of what makes these guys so great. Now, Alfie DiCarlo is not a world-renowned trainer, but geez, he performed like one on the weekend. He was sensational. What's that? Maybe Bridgerweight is a class to go to next, but Obataille must clean out the cruiserweight division first. He's not going to Bridgerweight, I don't think, Kyle. Who's there? I mean, I don't think he's going to Bridgerweight. Opataya will outclass most. Yes, says Carl. All right, so the boys are getting introduced at the moment. So it will be Jack Brubaker first up. I'm not sure how far behind I am you guys out there. I'm pretty sure we're watching it live. It's just a stream, as I said earlier. It's probably about 40 seconds. But I'll do my best to, if you're not watching, to give you the updates. Look, I'm just going to say so far, it hasn't exactly been the most eventful card, but the good news is we'll probably be all done and dusted by 10:30. So there's one good thing. Good crowd there for a Wednesday night too, if I must say. There's Jack Brubaker, ready to go. The Cowboy. One good thing I like about Jack Brubaker, he'll just fight anybody, anywhere, anytime. So he's from Cronulla, New South Wales, from the South Side Boxing Gym. His trainer is Ryan Waters. Just waiting for his record to come up there. What's that, Jules? Appetite only going to Bridger to pass through at best. Better to be a 3-division champ with 2. Yeah, maybe, but at the moment, I mean, would you really bother? The Bridge, and there's Jack Brubaker. Yeah, the Bridge. I mean, how many fighters are there at Bridgerweight at the moment, or at least sort of elite? Barely anyone. So I just don't see the sense in it. I also don't see the sense in Usyk going back down to cruiserweight, to be honest. Opatai is really the only thing there for him, and why not wait till he goes to heavyweight? All right, Mitch Leake from the Team Ellis Gym from Narnagoon in Victoria, trained by Ty Tanua and Nigel Snart. This is for the Australian middleweight title. What's that, Kyle? Soft start, but KOs galore in the second half. Yeah. Look, end of the day, if you've got the app, it's free, so big deal, I suppose. It's not like we're paying for it, so I've got no dramas with it. Any free boxing on a weeknight, hey, bring it on any day of the week. All right. No worries, Mule. I'm again behind Carl because it looks like they've started round 1. They're still in centre ring for me here, so sorry about that. Anyway, if you've got an interest in these guys, Mule, then I'll do my best for blow by blow. But again, get the VPN thing and then download the 7plus app and you can get it all for free. Just make sure you hit Melbourne as the location or Australia as a location and you'll be fine. All right. What's that worst? All right. We start round number 1. Mitch Leake, Jack Brubaker. Jack Brubaker in the red with white. Mitch Leake with the black with silver. And the tassels or whatever the hell they are on his shorts. Brubaker misses a right hand counter there. Both boys just filling each other out with the jabs. Look very evenly matched. I haven't seen a lot of Mitch Leake, but so far looks like he's definitely got some skill, that's for sure. I would too there, Jules, but I've got a feeling there's a reason that he is the B-side tonight, I would think. Yeah, I do agree with you there, mate. And he does take some punishment too. So both boys, not really much action here. Just a few feints either way. Jack Brubaker moving to his right, which is a little bit unusual for an orthodox fighter, considering he's fighting an orthodox fighter. Just misses that right hand that grazes past the chin of Mitch Leake. It looks like a very evenly matched fight so far. Both guys just looking for that opening. Walking, feinting. Mitch Leake throws the right hand, but misses by a fair way. So halfway through round number 1, not a lot of action so far, but I'm sure as the fight goes on, things will heat up for sure. Little right hand lands from Jack Brubaker there. Oh, and he wears a left there that did get his attention. It looks like he's got a stiff left hand, Leake. Jab and hook. And we've all seen that Jack Brubaker can leave himself open to punches. He throws a right that misses. He leads with the right, which I wouldn't recommend, but he led with the right and then got countered with a left in return. So 45 to go in round number 1. Not a lot of action. Both guys just feeling their way. Jabs. Couple of little right hands thrown in there, but that's probably about it so far. Both guys trade lead hooks there. And they both laugh at each other. About 30 seconds to go in this Mr. Roscoe. Good exchange there. They both land left hooks. And Jack Brubaker finishes the round okay. I think he's actually won this round. Not sure what you guys think. I would give that round to, there you go, Andrew, was it? Mother and father are both horse trainers. Okay, there you go. Yeah, Carl, I gave Jack Brubaker that round as well. A couple of comments in between rounds. It's sad, but in my opinion, Ronda's problem was her arrogance and standing by excuses of losing her 2 fights via KO. If she was humble in defeat, she might be respected more. Yeah, good point, Andy. I probably should have mentioned that. Yeah, you're 100% right. Well, I am sad that she doesn't feel she's welcome back. You're correct in that. Her arrogance and you're right with the excuses. And also, she almost carried on like a spoiled little kid. If anyone gave her any criticism, she would respond. She'd get her trainer or other goons to, make an issue out of it. So, yeah, you're right. But she should still feel welcome back at UFC events. And I think all people would forgive and forget these days. I think they would realise how good she was for the sport. And sometimes you don't realise how much you miss something until it's gone. So, what's that, Jules? Watching on TV, app must be a bit behind. I'm on my PC at the moment, mate. So if I do it on the TV, it just doesn't work. And my phone, same thing. But we're in round 2 anyway. So I think I'm about 30 or 40 seconds behind, Carl. So same again. Mitch throws out the stiff jab. I don't like that Brubaker throws out the jab and he doesn't bring the left hand back. He just brings it back to his hip or his waist instead of his chin, and that is really open to that counter right hand. So Mitch Leake just starting to pick up the pace a little bit now. Lands a good right hand there. And Jack does a good job in spinning out and out of trouble. So I can't hear the commentary there, but I'm assuming they gave Jack that first round as well. But Mitch Leake looking a lot better in round number 2. One, 2 from Jack Brubaker. Good round. Another 1-2 from Jack Brubaker. Now, they normally have red and blue tape on. Looks like Jack Brubaker's more got purple he's got on there, I think. Maybe it's just the light. So halfway through round number 2. Oh, you're ahead of me there, Carl, so I know what's going to come up in a second. This might be an early night by the looks of things. And the boys clinch. Throws a double jab and a right hand. Mitch Leake says, "Don't hit me on the back of the head, please," as they spin around each other. Oh, right hand, and down goes Jack. And that is, well, we'll call it a knockdown. Flush knockdown. Jeez, I must be about a minute behind you, I reckon, Carl. Just a flush knockdown. Anything serious, I wouldn't have thought. But it is a 10-8 round for Mitch Leake. I've got 30 to go here, Damien. Sorry, mate. I'll see if I can maybe get it on my phone. Maybe that might work a bit better. See what we can do. So I've got 10 seconds to go here. So what I'm going to do is, there we go. See if I can get it on my phone. I'll see how much behind I am here. Well, that's the end of round 2 for me, so I am well behind. Oh, hang on. All right. Well, there you go. So I'm into round number 3. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch. I'm going to get out of that and get rid of it, and I'm going to watch it on my phone. I'm going to cheat. So I'm going to be looking this way this time, guys. Actually, I might bring that over here so I can see it. You know, I'll put it over there. All right. So for me, we're 40 seconds into round number 3 here, guys. So it's not the best viewing experience, but it'll do. At least I can see what's happening. All right. Well, at least we're a little bit caught up here, guys, because it's probably at least a minute to minute and a half. So a minute down in round number 3, the boys clinch. Jack with his back to the ropes comes off. Looks like he's something to do with his arm there. Come on, Andrew. That's not very nice. Bit scrappy this round. Not much has happened. It's a shame that was a 10-8 round, though, because I'm not sure whether that's going to decide the fight. Well, right hand lands from Jack. And another right hand. Good punches from Jack. And Mitch Leake backs up. Looks just a little bit out of sorts at the moment. Oh, though he does land a good right hand there. I've just got a feeling here, guys. I'm not quite sure what you think, but this one I don't think is going to go the distance. One of these guys is going to land a shot. That's low from Mitch Leake. No warning though. And the referee didn't see it. That just staggers me. It was clearly low. So a minute to go in round number 3. Jack Brubaker coming forward. Mitch Leake is just, I wouldn't say he's running, but he's backing up, just waiting for Jack to come to him. And leads with a left hook there. I think Jack Brubaker's had the best of this round. He lands a 1-2 there as well. Misses the left hook. So not a very active round from Mitch Leake. He actually looks a little bit tired at the moment. And Jack Brubaker's just putting on the pressure a little bit here. 30 seconds to go in round number 3. And I don't know if it's just me, but Mitch Leake just looks like he's feeling the pace at the moment. And Jack Brubaker, a very experienced campaigner. Looks like it, Carl. You know the Melbourne scene very well, I think. You said it, not me. He looks like the sting has really gone out of his punches so far, Mitch Leake. And Jack Brubaker, he looks nice and fresh, looks nice and relaxed, picking up the pace. Mitch Leake looks like he's just struggling with the pace. And this is again, guys, when it comes down, they always say levels. My old mate Nick Noonan says it all the time. It's levels, to the point I think he's almost trademarked that term. But if you've got a guy who's 10-1, I'm looking at his record now, who's never fought anyone even remotely resembling any. Well, Adrian Rodriguez is a tough guy, but before that, Lockie Higgins was 8-7-2. Jaden Riddell was 2-4-1. Damien Locke was 4-5-1. He fought a Thai who was 1-0. He had 3 guys on debut. He had another guy who was 0-7 and another guy that was 1-8. So this is the time, unfortunately, where you realise whether you're ready for it or not. Now, I might be wrong here, but Jack Brubaker, his record might suggest it as we start round number 4, but a very, very well-credentialed fighter. Don't worry about that. The type of guy who could be the ultimate banana peel. You slip on the banana peel I'm talking about. All right, so we are 20 seconds into round number 4. Mitch Leake with the jabs. And a good left from Jack Brubaker. It looks like he's really got his confidence up at the moment, Jack Brubaker. Looks like he's having a bit of fun in there. Right, Mason Rangers, yep. He's got good defence, Andrew, but he has got better defence, I think, at the moment. But the thing is, he's still wearing a few. And Jack Brubaker, he's just got a chin made of steel. I mean, he took some massive punch. I know he was stopped by Tim, but that was more the corner throwing in the towel. He never went down. I don't think. He might have, but he wasn't knocked out. And Nikita Zoo, the punches he copped from him, Yeah, it's a good fight so far. Good back and forth from both guys, as you say there, Carl. Both boys exchanged jabs with halfway through round number 4. I think if I was Jack Brubaker, I'd be really, and lands a good right hand there, Jack Brubaker. I'd be really putting that perceived pressure on Mitch Leake. You know, he's not sure he's fought a 10-rounder before. Actually, he did. He went 10 rounds with Adrian Rodriguez in his last fight. But I got a feeling that Adrian Rodriguez did not put the amount of pressure on him that Jack Brubaker is at the moment. So I've got a minute. It's under a minute to go. Another good round. I'm not quite sure who's won this round so far. I think it's pretty much up for grabs. And again, Mitch Leake does just look a little bit worse for wear. And Brubaker, oh, there's another low blow. And again, the referee doesn't call it. And another one. And a head clash. I'm not sure this. Yeah, I think Jack Brubaker's cut there. Definitely a cut. It happened straight away. You could see it pretty much split open as they come out of that head clash. So 10 seconds ago, round number 4. He eats a good jab there from Mitch Leake. Another low blow. Mitch Leake, right hand, right, just sort of on the bell. I'm not quite sure whether this. I cannot. Is this guy? Did he go to the same referee school as a guy on Sunday? Are you kidding me? I reckon he landed 5 low blows there, all the same punch. Left rip after left rip on the thigh. How he did not see that is beyond me. Am I imagining things? Let me know. There you go, Carl. Another, it was just one after the other. Oh, it's at Albie. Who are they? Albie Mangles. That's a good name. I remember old Albie Mangles back in the day. Who are they lining up for Harbour in the next fight? Don't know, mate. I know there's an announcement coming, but your guess is as good as mine at this stage. Good end of the round. I'd probably give that just to Mitch Leake. I thought he landed a couple of stiff punches and finished off the round a little bit better. I think that was an opportunity missed by Jack Brubaker. I think he's got Mitch Leake really on his toes at the moment, and he didn't really take advantage of that, and I think he lost that round. So I've got it 2 rounds apiece. But those body shots, Jack Brubaker waves to the crowd and says, "Let's go." I agree, Andrew. I think is this the same guy that refereed the Paro fight? All right, so the boys start off pretty hot pace this 5th round. Good pace of the fight so far. And it's not a bad strategy from Mitch Leake. He's actually now he's allowing Jack to come to him and countering him because Jack is open to counters. He's not the most graceful type of guy. He's just pretty much got the 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and he's now reading it a little bit better. And Jack now has blood in his eyes. So, but those low blows still. And now all of a sudden Jack looks just a little gassed, which is probably to be understood. If you're from New South Wales, guys, and this fight continues the way it is, I wouldn't expect your guy to get the decision, if you know what I mean. I'm from Victoria. Don't forget that. I know the way it works. Yeah, it is a good fight so far, Carl. So we are halfway through round number 5. Been a really good pace so far. You can see both boys are just feeling the pinch a little bit at this stage. Mitch Leake continuing to jab. That hook to the body landed okay. I would have hoped it landed okay because the referee was literally about 2 feet away. Better round for Mitch Leake, I think. He's really starting to pinpoint his punches now where Jack is just getting a little bit wild. Yeah, he is. Albie Brubaker's open to be hit. Yep. I don't know who that is, Damien. Was that the front row kissing that? I don't know. I'll keep a lookout to it. Watch the fights, mate. That's what we should be saying to him. You've probably paid $500 a ticket to sit there. Yeah, good 1-2 from Leake. Looks like he's starting to get his range now, and Jack Brubaker just looks a little bit worse for wear at the moment, especially with that cut bleeding on his forehead. One thing about Jack Brubaker though, he will not stop coming, and he's going to take this young guy into waters he's probably never been in before. Whether he can swim is another thing. Good body shot from Mitch Leake. I think he's had the better of this round again, although Brubaker does land a 1-2 and Leake comes back with a right hand. I think Leake's just had the cleaner shots though this round. All right, that's the end of what was that round number 5. I'm going to give that very close round to Mitch Leake. I've got my Victorian glasses on here, guys, and a close round. I know which way they're going to give it, so I'm going to give that to Mitch Leake, and I've got 3 rounds to 2 so far. If they're actually ringside tickets, Albie, they could even be worth more than $500. Oh, and 300 for the Sheila. Now I get it. Sorry, Albie. Now I understand. Yeah, 300 for the Sheila. Probably more like 500, I reckon, for each Albie. All right, so end of round number 5. Some good shots landed by both boys. I just think Mitch Leake landed the cleaner shots. So I've got him winning 3 rounds to 2 so far, which has been a pretty good fight. It's been a little bit scrappy in stages, but overall not a bad fight. Mitch Leake's had the good jab, and Brubaker's probably landed the more power punches. Let's see what both boys have got in the second half of this fight. He never comes out of a fight without being busted up, Jake Brubaker. What's happening now? Now we're going to have the doctor look at the cut. I'm not sure it's that bad, to be honest. Yep, she says, yeah, good doctor. Just get out there. Stop wasting my time. Says to the referee, come on, don't bring him over unless it's serious. All right, here we go. So Brubaker's cut, it doesn't look too serious, Albie. They haven't had any close-ups of it just yet, but doesn't look like there's a lot of blood coming into his eyes, and that's all they're worried about, whether it's prohibiting or his vision. Unless you're the doctor from Las Vegas in Tim Zoo's fight. The poor guy couldn't see anything, and they let it go. All right, 30 seconds into round number 6. And a little bit scrappy to start the round. Nothing really of note landed so far. Both boys looks like they're just taking just a half a round off to reassess in the second half of the fight. But I've got Leake up 3 rounds to 2 so far. Good 1-2 from Brubaker. Nice 1-2. I think with Brubaker, the technique's okay, the 1-2, but what he's not doing afterwards is getting those hands up. It's almost like I'm going to hit you with a 1-2 and your turn to hit me. And Leake's a lot better defence, and he's really using that jab well. Possibly, Andrew. Possibly. I'm sure that's what they've got in mind down the track. So halfway through round number 6, another very even round so far. Leake on the jab. Brubaker looking for that 1-2 power punch. Been really good scrap so far. And looks like both have just entered that second phase of the fight as far as that second win goes, where you warm into the fight. You've got past that initial 3 or 4 rounds where you just get a little bit naturally gassed. And now they've got into the groove of the fight. I still can't believe he hasn't been warning him for those body shots, though. Right hand lands from Brubaker. And Leake trying to go with him at the moment, but I've got to say it's Brubaker that actually looks a little fresher at the moment. Good jabs from Mitch Leake. And Mitch Leake looks at his corner. Yeah. So Mitch Leake throws the jab. Brubaker throws the 1-2 and switches to southpaw in close. Nothing yet, Damien. Last I heard, it was going to be Mizudia, but we'll soon see, I suppose. Waves to the crowd and lands a 1-2. Nice from Brubaker. I think he's won this round. Yeah, I'm going to give that round to Jack Brubaker. Another close one, but I'm going to give that round to Jack, so I've got it 3 rounds apiece. What I'm going to do, I should have done this from the start. I'm going to put my scorecard up. How do you guys got it? I've got it 3 rounds apiece. Leak, what is it? 6 rounds. So was that 57, 57. Brubaker, 57. Oh, hang on. Brubaker. There we go. Here we go. We'll just a little bit of editing on the go. There we go. We got that right? Yeah, 57, 57. All right, round number 7. Oh, sorry, with the knockdown. I forgot about that. Sorry, I won't. All right, there you go. 57, 56. Will that knockdown come into the equation? Hook landed from Brubaker. I think the main event has saved the card here so far, guys. It's been a good fight. A jab and a hook from Leak, and Brubaker answers with a right hand. Misses another right hand, does Brubaker. He's got to keep those hands up, Jack. He throws good punches, but just has no defense, and that chin comes up in the air. Backs Leak up to the ropes, who then holds on. Does a little sneaky right hand landed from Leak there. You're starting to look at the clock though, Mitch Leak, and that's a bad thing when you're only in round number 7. He does look pretty tight at the moment, Mitch Leak. He's holding on at every opportunity at the moment. Yeah, Jack, and we know that Jack has definitely got the tank. And the referee just gives him a little bit of a break there. I'm not quite sure what he's warning Leak about, but says, there you go, Mitch. Have 20 seconds break. He's showing a little bit of wear and tear around the eyes too, Mitch Leak. So we've got a minute to go in round number 7. Pretty tough round to score so far. Definitely clinching a bit more there, Carl. Left hook sort of lands from Jack Brubaker. Leak throws a right hand off the break. So we've got 30 seconds to go, round number 7. And I think it's pretty much up for grabs still this round. Let's see who finishes off the better. Jab from Leak and a right hand from Brubaker. I think Jack's just worked a little bit harder this round so far. 1-2 from Jack. Very tough round to score. We're going to have to give this to the Victorian just because it's in Victoria. They're all Victorian judges, no doubt. Oh, right hand from Leak on the bell. I'm going to give that round. I'm going to give that round to Brubaker. Reluctantly, it was close, and that was a right hand at the bell, but I'm going to give it to Brubaker. Just could have gone either way, but I'll give it to Brubaker. So that makes it even. So Jack, so you'd have it the same as me, I'm assuming. Let me know. So that's 4 rounds to 3 for Jack Brubaker. A lot of close rounds in there. Thanks, Jules. I don't know if you're being taking the piss or serious there, but if I want to get really technical, Jules, you watch when I do this one. Hang on, where is it? Yeah, we'll try this one. See, there you go. Look at that. Hang on, we've got to slow it down a bit. How's that one? I'll change it back in a sec. That is really professional now. And Jack Brubaker on his toes. He's turned to southpaw now. We'll just get that back to... Not much in this 8th round at the moment. All right, another head clash. The boys touch gloves. 1-2 and a left rip to the body from Leake. It was above the belt line too, and he lands a left hook. Just Jack, he always has that chin up in the air. And Mitch Leake is actually, looks like he's really biting down that mouthpiece at the moment. He's got Jack in the blue corner. And Brubaker fights back, as you know he was going to do. I agree with you there, Jules. He's a good fight, but not a lot of technique from either boys. Thanks, Jules. Oh, left hook from Leake. Half a minute to go. Halfway through round number 8. And I think Mitch Leake's definitely landed the better punches this round. Oh, right hand from Leake lands. Brubaker waves him on. Oh, right hand backs Jack up. He looks like he might be in a bit of trouble here. But Jack fights back and they clinch. Brutal fight. So a minute to go, round number 8. And Jack Brubaker lands a right hand. He just keeps coming forward, Jack. He just tough as a pair of old boots. And Mitch Leake's like, geez, how much have I got to hit this guy with? I think it's been Mitch Leake so far. We've got 35 seconds to go in round number 8. I think he's landed the better punches this round. And Jack is really feeling the pace now. Both very tired boys at the moment. So 10 seconds to go in round number 8. I think the referee's inserting himself a little bit too much so far for my liking. And Jack says, let's go, and finishes the round in style. But for me, that is a Mitch Leake round. And Jack Brubaker definitely showing the effect so far. He's busted up all over the place. All right, so that's 4 rounds apiece, but with the knockdown. How we got it there, guys? Just going to see how this looks, guys. I know I'm experimenting a bit here. There we go. All right, we're into round number 9. How we have it at the moment. So for me, what have we got there? 76-75 for Leake. Oh, I stuffed that up there, haven't I? It's all good. So a little bit of clinching to start the round. And Leak goes back to the body, throws a jab. Good jabs from Leak there. And it looks like Jack Brubaker's just... It's because he's just been relying on the big 1 and 2. Mitch Leak has done a really good job by not just trying to slug with Jack. Now he's trying to pinpoint his punches, really trying to be technically correct on his punches as well, and not just winging punches for the sake of it. And as a result, he's having success. 1 minute gone, round number 9. So the boys clinch again. Does land a 1-2 though, Jack Brubaker. Another right hand. Good start to the round and a little sneaky uppercut in there from Brubaker as well. So a good start to the round. We're about halfway through round number 9. And not a bad round for Jack Brubaker so far. He probably thinks, I'm in Melbourne. I have to make, I have to put an exclamation mark on this fight. He just looks a little bit gassed for me at the moment. And Mitch Leak just looks like he's held his composure a little bit better at this stage, which is surprising considering that it's Jack Brubaker who is the more experienced fighter. Right hand on the ropes there from Mitch Leak. We've got a minute to go, round number 9. And Jack definitely looking a little bit worse for wear now. He looks tired and is really labouring at the moment. Mitch Leak, who's just, as I said before, he's just gone back to being nice and composed, nice and tight. Yeah, not real good, Carl. Yeah, I agree with that there, Jules. And you're right, he's given himself a bit of distance. He's not just getting tied up with Jack Brubaker into a wrestling match and whoever's going to land the big shots first. He's gone back just to give himself a little bit of room, using the jab, throwing good clean shots, and then not really giving Jack Brubaker an opportunity to retaliate. So 10 seconds to go, round number 9. I think another good round for Mitch Leak. All right, so for me, that is a round for Mitch Leak, and for me, that puts him in the box seat to win this fight. All right, so what is that? 86, 85, 84 for me. Yep, Mitch is around. So 1 round to go, guys. So I'm impressed somewhat with Mitch Leak's ability to sort of change tactics during the fight. He did look like he'd been drawn into a bit of a slugfest during the middle stage of the fight, but it's gone right back to basics where he hasn't been drawn into the punch on with Brubaker. He's got nice and tight, used his jab, and really looked to pinpoint his punches. So we start round number 10. And I think Jack Brubaker realises the situation and has come out very aggressive and coming forward now. He does eat a right hand from Mitch Leak though. And Mitch Leak's saying, all right, now I'm going to load up. I think so, Andy. I've got it, the 86-84, so 5 rounds to 4 so far for Mitch Leak, plus the knockdown. He's giving it his all, though, Jack Brubaker. He's still talking to Mitch Leak, saying, let's go. But definitely looks like he's a little bit underwater at the moment, Jack Brubaker. And Mitch Leak, he's boxed really well in the last half of the fight. He's boxed very, very well. I still think he's got a long way to go. I'm not quite sure he's really up to fighting someone like a Nikita Tszyu at the moment, but you never know till you have a crack. And don't forget, Jack Brubaker gave Nikita Tszyu a hell of a fight. All right, so they trade left hooks there. Halfway through round number 10. 90 seconds to go. Not sure what the referee's is warning Mitch Leake there about. Probably his first warning for the whole fight. Blood all over Jack Brubaker's face at the moment. He's going to be a sore boy tomorrow. He's still trying, Jack. He's just a little bit wild at the moment. And Mitch Leake has really, again, pinpointed his punches. Does look pretty tired too, though, Mitch Leake. But, again, has landed the cleaner shots in this last round. Does wing the right hand, Mitch Leake, and he was lucky Jack Brubaker wasn't really in a position to make him pay then. Right hand off the break for Mitch Leake. As Jack looks at the clock and says, how long to go? Well, Jack, there's 30 seconds to go. Oh, big right hand there. I think he's done the job in his last round as well. Jack does land a right hand there, but too little too late for Jack Brubaker. 10 seconds to go in the fight. And I think Mitch Leake has won, in the end, a pretty clear-cut decision, I think. So there is the end of round number 10. So my scorecard I had at 96-93. Not sure how you guys had it. Let me know. I'll update my little scorecard here. Some ripper punches landed by both guys. Just a really good fight. And this is what you want to see. All right. So, all right. So there's my unofficial scorecard there, guys. I had it 96-93 for Mitch Leake. And yep, you're right there, Jack, for the robbery. Not in Victoria, mate. Doesn't work that way, sorry. Bloody good scrap, yeah. Yeah, look, it was a good fight. It was scrappy. I think if you look at both guys, I think Jack Brubaker, look, I think you can tell he's had a lot of really tough fights. It looks like he's starting to get that wear and tear look about him now, Jack Brubaker. He's been in so many hard fights over the journey. And Mitch Leake, yeah, okay. I mean, look, Jack Brubaker obviously is no pushover, but I think as far as being a player in, maybe a Nikita Zoo fight or someone else like that, I think he's still a little off. I think you can tell he's had 10 pretty comfortable type of matchups. I know the Rodriguez fight was a tough guy. Adrian Rodriguez is a really tough fighter, but again, way past his best. I just think it looked like a real battle-worn fighter up against a young prospect that's unproven and still a long way to go. So, but that's okay. Hey, it's 7+. It's free boxing. Then nothing to complain about. But if I'm being asked, and I'm sure I will be, what do we think of, or what do I think of both guys? That's sort of where I see it. And that's just saying it the way it is. And even though it looks like a good win for Mitch Leake, as I said, I still think he's got a long way to go. Yeah, I'm with you there, Carl. Not much defence from either guy. I think they both, well, it was probably expected from Jack Brubaker. That's just the type of fighter that he is. But Mitch Leake, for me, yeah, he did wear a few too many punches for me. He's pretty easy to hit. I think he still needs a fair bit of work on his technique. I think he was sort of hit with some punches that he shouldn't really be getting hit with. But that's okay. As I said, look, you've got to have these fights to progress, and that's what I think he's doing. This guy, like Brubaker's easily the best fighter that he's fought, more experienced guy that he's fought. So, and he did a really good job. So, for a young guy coming up, it's the ideal fight for him to have. Sounds funny, but Leake better schooled, yeah. Thanks, Dave. I'm not sure that's for me or someone else, but thank you. Nothing wrong with taking a step back, used the jab. Mitch was doubling up nicely in early rounds. And that's what I'm saying, Kyle. Like, it's good to have these types of fights to learn. But, geez, yeah, he needs to break a few little habits that he's got at the moment, or else the real elite guys, even in this country, are gonna carve him up. But hey, free fight, I'm all for it. So, oh, there you go, Carl. Free, yep, exactly, mate. Me too. Yep, I agree there, Jules. Let's hear the scorecards. 98-91, 99-90, 99-90. Unanimous decision. And still the Australian middleweight champion, Mitch Leake. I'm not sure, was it 1 or 2 rounds tops that Jack Brubaker got? I don't know what fight they were watching, or maybe what I was watching. I don't know about you guys, but what did I have it? I had it 6 rounds to 4. I had it. And then with the knockdown. So whoever that was, the 2 judges, I think one of them gave him 1 round, and other ones gave him 2 rounds. So let's not call it home cooking, guys, but I think Mitch Leake definitely won the fight. But, geez, the scorecards were a little bit wide for me. Yeah, Jules, yeah. 9 rounds to 1 to only give Jack Brubaker 1 round. That's the Melbourne judges for you there, Jules. Look, I think Mitch Leake 100% won the fight. No problems whatsoever. But I don't think you're going to get, Carl, I don't think you're going to get a lot of interstate fighters want to come to Melbourne if that's how the judges are going to score it. Yeah. And credit to Jack Brubaker. He's giving Mitch Leake his props. But, yeah, geez. Yeah, what's that? Way too wide leak by 2 or 3 rounds. Yeah, well, that's the way I have it, Andrew. I don't know how you could not give Jack Brubaker more than 1 or 2 rounds. It just doesn't make sense. Again, the right man won the fight. That's the main thing. But, geez, if you were Jack Brubaker, you'd have to be going home to going, geez, was I that bad? I agree, Jules. Time to retire. Can't be going through wars like that for 1 round. Yeah. Look, we all admire Jack. He's a warrior. He's a character. But I've seen too many fighters over the journey that have hung around way too long, and then 20 years after they've retired, they're just bloody drooling messes. So I don't want to see that from Jack Brubaker or anyone for that matter. So yeah, let's hope maybe he calls it a day. What's that? Albania and Croatia in the soccer. All right, so that's the Euros, is it? I'm not really a big soccer man, Damien, but I have seen the Euros were on. I actually saw the good documentary the other day about England a couple of years ago when they when they played in the final against Italy and run amok. Was it the final battle of Wembley or something it was called? It was, again, I'm not a soccer person, but I watched it. Those English soccer fans, they are just crazy. Thanks, Mule. I appreciate it, mate. I'm not necessarily a commentator, but I do my best. What's that, Carl? Scoring in the PBS is becoming a joke. They have to tighten up on this or there won't be a platform. The problem is, though, Kyle, the right fighters are winning. That's the issue. I don't think you're going to see much of an uproar when the home fighters or the A-side fighters are winning. That's just boxing, unfortunately. And, yeah, look, as I said, like, Mitch Leake, the rightful winner, no dramas, but to only give Jack Brubaker 1 round or 2 rounds, that's just ridiculous. It really is. I didn't hear it, sorry, Carl. I haven't got the volume turned up, so I'm not sure whether he did. I hope he... Oh, okay, good. If that's the case, then hopefully that's it. He's got a lot to offer, Jack. I mean, he could be a trainer. He could be a commentator or an analyst, whatever they call him, a special comments. I think he's got a lot to offer the sport. I really like Jack Brubaker. Yeah, I know he's limited, but again, he's an entertainer. He'll fight anyone. I think he's just been a really good servant to Aussie boxing, and we need guys like him. So if it is the end, all the best to Jack. I love watching him, and let's hope he gets out now in one piece. And I know he's got a little baby in that now, so yeah, he can spend time with. I'm not quite sure it's a boy or girl, but whatever it is, good luck to him if that is the case. Yeah, get Jack to watch a doco on the Quarry Brothers who retire. Yeah, that's the Quarry Brothers. Yep, and And I won't name names, but there's a lot of fighters I either boxed with or against or around the same era, and yeah, it's just a shame sometimes to see the state they're in, and it's not. We don't want to see that. And look, that's the good thing about it these days is they're more on it than ever. You see it happening in the contact sports like the football and rugby and all that sort of stuff, and they're really taking it seriously. And I would assume boxing is sort of in that same category now. I still think though the judges still need a little bit of schooling on getting in there a little bit quicker. I don't think people are going to be too pissed if I know we all get a bit bent out of shape if a fight gets stopped too soon, but I think in the cold light of day sometimes we might be happy with it, but we understand it. And I think even tonight with Matt Sheen, that last left hand he got hit with, he didn't need to get hit with that left hand. And the worst, though, I will say, is the UFC. I still shudder whenever I do watch the UFC and they're allowed to knock them out or down on the canvas. Is there canvas in there? I'm assuming they do. And they're allowed to jump on and hit them 3 or 4 times before the referee has a chance to get in there. That just makes me sick. And I can't believe in this day and age, even though we're tolerating slap fighting and bare knuckle fighting and that sort of stuff, how you could allow someone to be able to hit the deck knocked out cold, and if the opponent wants to, they can jump on if the referee's too far away, hit an unconscious guy on the canvas 2 or 3 times and get away with it. I just don't understand it. And I know the UFC guys or girls will come at me, but that's not in the spirit of fighting. We all love whether it be boxing or MMA, whatever it might be, but done in the right way, and to be able to pound someone that's unconscious on the ground, makes my stomach crawl. All right, couple of comments before we go, guys. I really appreciate everyone that's tuned in tonight, by the way. What's that there? Mule, Matthias and Gary Antoine both upset. 140 is wide open. If you had to make Paro's next opponent, who would it be? Well, ideally it'd be Ryan Garcia, Mule, but he's got some issues at the moment, as we all know, whether he can even make the weight plus all the other issues going on. If it's not him, I would say probably 2 guys. I think Prograis makes a lot of sense. Obviously, he's just lost his world title. He was in talks with Matthias about being after this fight. Or someone like a Rolly Romero. Because you've got to remember, Haney, Cruz, and Lopez are all tied up probably to the end of the year. So I think Rolly Romero would be a good opponent for Liam Paro. Be entertaining. He's a name. But either one of those two I think would be the go. I think make Matthias wait. Don't give him an automatic rematch. Just make him wait. Let him earn that rematch back. There's no rematch clause, so let him wait. No worries, Carl. Always a pleasure to have you all on, mate. Yeah, Jules, definitely a personality for TV. That's Jack Brubaker. What's that, Jules? Mike Altamura made a great point on here a while ago about fighters being educated about how to remain involved in the sport in a non-fighting capacity. Even places like YouTube provide options. I agree with you, Jules, and it's a really good point, mate, because I must admit I've never been asked to be involved in boxing. Not that I'm a big name or anything, but I've been an Olympic boxer, Commonwealth Games boxer, all the rest of it. I've never been asked by anybody to be involved, whether it be coaching, officiating. I was a coach there for a while, but it wasn't really my thing. But never really been sort of coaxed back to be a referee or a judge or whatever. And I think there's so many other fighters out there. There's probably 2 points to look at here too, Jules. One is I think it's good for the sport to have ex-boxers being involved. They know they can read it better, probably officiate better because of that, but also it keeps the boxers involved in boxing. There's nothing worse, whether it be not just boxing, but football or whatever, where you've been in it in a real capacity as a fighter, and all of a sudden it's over, and you're forgotten about like that. And you almost feel worth it. I was lucky when I retired. I got married, went into business, had kids. I had a lot to keep me busy, but I know a lot of fighters that never had that and were quite lost and ended up going off the rails. And that's just not boxing. That might be, especially like AFL players, rugby league players. You got to remember the way that the pats on the back and they're a superstar and they're getting all the money and all the attention and media. And then once it's done, they don't want to know you. It's all over. Unless you're one of those real superstar legends of the sport, you're forgotten in 2 seconds. And it's very hard for those types of people to accept. So maybe something like this where they get them back involved in the sport and educate them and maybe have funding to get them into it, whatever it might be. But just to get more boxers back into the sport, I think it would help the sport and also help the fighters themselves. As I said, I love being involved in boxing, but not once did I have anyone say or reach out and say, and not just me, all my teammates have been. I don't think any of them have ever been approached either. So that comes down to the bodies. All it would take when you think about it is a bit of a, something from the president or someone on the committee or somewhere in the organisation to say, hey, let's trial this and reach out to everyone we know where they are and just put it out there. All they can do is say no. And I think a lot of them would probably enjoy it to come down and just be part of it. Or just help in some sort of capacity. Because as I said, I've seen a lot of fighters that are just lost and have nothing and are just, it's sad. It really is. And again, that's not just not boxing. That's a lot of different sports. But yeah, good point there, Jules. And as usual, Mike hitting it right on the head or nailing it. What's that, Damon? Did you see Pride back? What's that? Did you see Pride back in the day? Full soccer kicks to down fighters and everything and stops. What's that there, mate? Did you see? What's Pride? Full soccer kicks to down fighters and everything and stops. No, I didn't see that. I'm glad I didn't, Damien. I don't know if I'm just overreacting, but I just don't see, again, the sense or logic of having that in your rules. Now, in MMA, it's supposed to be mixed martial arts where they're taking bits and pieces of all different sports or combat sports. So you've got the judo and the karate and taekwondo, I don't know, all these jiu-jitsu, boxing, and you're wrestling, you're rolling it all into one, hence the name mixed martial arts. Then why wouldn't they take the one thing from boxing that actually does make sense? If you happen to knock down a fighter, then maybe they get a count, or the referee, you're not allowed to hit them on the ground. Maybe the referee's got to assess the fighter. Maybe they do give them a count. I don't know. But as much as I love Dana White and the UFC concept and everything like that, the fact that they allow that in the sport to not, and there's some pretty ruthless guys and girls out there. They know they're actually knocked out. It's different if they knock them down, okay, and they jump on top and they might land a couple. I've seen fighters that are knocked out cold and defenseless, and the fighter jumps on top and does, what are they, the hammer fists or whatever they are, 3 or 4 times before the referee gets them. That just should not be allowed. So the MMA guys, you're just with the boxing, you're all bloody soft. No, that's just barbaric. Don't even get me started on this slap bullshit either. That's just ridiculous. Anyway, to give someone a free hit, come on, that's just stupid. Bare knuckle, I don't really like it, but I can tolerate it. It's still under proper rules. They just got no. I got full respect for those guys, I can tell you, and girls. Because what they put themselves through, holy shit. I couldn't do it, I'm afraid. I would not do it. A couple more comments and we'll call it a night there, guys and girls. Yep, more times fighters, refs and judges. Yep, let's see. What's that? So, okay. So Pride was a Japanese UFC promotion. Stomps and knees to down the opponents. Well, I'm glad I didn't see that, Damien. That is just ridiculous. What's that, Jules? Not overreacting. This is a sport. We don't want to see our heroes damaged. Yeah, again, mate, I just cannot see the logic. Like, when they sit around the table and devise the rules and everything else, and even if they allowed it at the start, surely at some stage they would have went, oh, this is not really good. If we want to get new fighters into this and let mums and dads let their kids do MMA and all the rest of it, is this really the message we want to be sending? I don't think so. Look, I like all kids to do something, but I'd like them to learn all those mixed martial arts, but actually get in the ring and have that possibly happen. No, not for me. No. Sorry, guys, I've got a bit of a runny nose there. One last comment from Andy. I don't really know much about this Pride FC. I thought you were taking the piss there with the Pride thing, Damien. There was a Pride Fight Club. No holds barred back in the day. They were the UFC's biggest competitor before UFC bought them and absorbed them. Well, let's be glad that it's gone, Andy, because I didn't see it, and I'm 100% glad I didn't. So that might be a conversation for another day. But guys, hang on. One last comment from Damien. I was obsessed with UFC as a teenager in my 20s, and as soon as I hit my 30s, I got right back into boxing. I lost all interest in UFC. Stick with the boxing, Damien. True gentleman sport. Sweet science. All right, guys. Well, that's it for this watch along. Really appreciate everyone that did log on tonight. I know it wasn't the most appealing card to join in, especially when you can watch it on your own app at home. But as it's always fun to get on here and watch the fights with you guys and girls and comment and discuss it and score it, whatever it might be. And we will do it again soon. I'm not quite sure when, though. Before we go, I'll have a quick look and see the next one. It will be Wednesday, July the 3rd. Nathaniel May versus Jose Matias Ramiro. That'll be the No Limit on Fox. That will be the next live watch along. Unless I don't think there's any world fights on before then, but I'll keep a lookout anyway and keep you updated. But hope you like the concept. As I said, it's always a little bit of fun. And until next time, we'll catch you then. Don't forget to look out for Friday, the weekly roundup. And next Monday, back to Monday night for Talking Boxing. So thanks again, guys, and we will see you then.